diffuser, but time is not in his favor. He has a challenge, the shotgun close, and Wood's gonna get it!
Do some damage. Nikolai from the backside! Finds Wisdom again! It would be a big one. He's finding the first. Can he find it? Swing again!
What? Left in a 1v3. Make that a 1v2. Make that a 1v1. Oh my goodness, Nitro sell out. And who's gonna stop him?
Hello everyone, it's been 3 weeks, our group stage is over, and we've eliminated half of the teams that we started out with. Now we're on the final 8, it's playoffs, and Jonah, I think it's safe to assume that you are just as excited as I am.
Oh, I'm thrilled. This is awesome. I mean, we have been waiting for this moment for quite some time because not only, have we finally made it through the group stage, the qualifiers as well, a lot of exciting siege there, but we're here in the playoffs, and the winner, at the end of all this, goes straight to the Pro-Am, which is an incredible opportunity for all of these teams, for us talents as well who want to go and see all these teams compete against the best of the best. I cannot wait to see the conclusion of this one, because now, if the stakes weren't high in the group stage, they are certainly as high as ever here in the playoffs.
Yeah, and if we want to look at just who is competing in these playoffs, our top 8 teams. Today, we're actually going to have our 2 T3 teams playing it out. Team Mystic versus One Shot, Surf Esports versus Achieve with the Surf game up first. And tomorrow, we will have Oculix versus Karn & Co. and Two-Faced versus Aerial Academy, another T3 team. I forgot, that's the Academy team and not Aerial Arise. Achieve kind of coming in thanks to Aerial Arise, the CL team forfeiting their last game. So Achieve just kind of like sneaking their way in, but they'll be up against Surf. And Jonah, I am very, very fortunate that the scheduling has worked out this way, because we get Surf and we get Mystic today, and those 2 teams are very, very exciting to watch.
Yeah, we're kind of stealing them away from the rest of the casters here, kind of seeing the
spoiled.
two most exciting teams in front of us on day 1 as well. So for all of you watching, you're glad you tuned in today, because these 2 teams are phenomenal to watch. This first game, maybe, at least we can expect it to be a little bit more one-sided, just given the way these storylines have played out. But when we get to our second series of the night, Mystic versus One Shot, my God, that one, I expect that one to go 3 maps easily, maybe even overtime on all 3. That one is going to be exceptional. Let's take a look at our leaderboards though, and see any individual players, any individual names who have stood up and really made a name for themselves here in SCS6. Important to note that only included on the leaderboard are the players who are still in the playoffs. Some teams of course got eliminated, only 8 teams remain, and some players, if there's been some roster changes, Sweater for example is no longer playing this split, and he's going to be subbed in by Feltwinter, but Sweater was at the top of several of these categories, at the rating category specifically. I believe he had a 1.42 rating, but now it's going to be Silent taking the lead from Two-Faced.
And not only is he top in rating, he's also top in entry. So Silent taking 2 of those spots, Poison with the other 2 in survival, and Cost, the IGL of Two-Faced, doing very well for himself. Regarding players who are actually playing in this current match right now, we've got Asian and Ashen, the AA duo. Of course, Ambi coming onto the team, making it AAA, but those 2 have been standout performers in SCS, and really throughout all of their time playing T3, Asian and Ashen have always been tremendous players. Gunner as well in that top 6 of rating. Gunner also there in entry, as well as Ashen. Again, those 2 players as well. Gunner being probably like the winningest player in T3 right now. Not surprising to see him. And then, of course, numerous of the other of these 10 players coming in over towards Cost and survival. And we want to go ahead and start looking at the teams a little bit more in depth. Surf Esports have been at the top of T3 along with Mystic for quite a while now. They're Ashen, Asian, Spiff, ReedSync, and Ambi. The key today is just to keep it simple. They've beaten better teams. They've beaten CL caliber teams, and now they're up against Achieve, who technically didn't even really play for their spot in the playoffs. Again, it was just Aerial Arise that forfeited. And while they have CL level talent, I think we can all agree that their play so far in SCS hasn't necessarily been Challenger League caliber, and we need Aerial Arise if they want to win to really close out their map, not let it get to overtime, not drop maps like we had against Aerial Arise Academy on Coastline, because so far that's the only map that they've dropped so far in our entire season.
Yeah, Surf have looked very, very impressive, but, a couple of bumps in the road. Now, talk about bumps, we can talk a little bit about Achieve, who, like you said, Harrison, got here maybe not by their own volition. A forfeit win over Aerial Arise, that is what got them here today. And of course, they're going to want to dispel all of the rumors, all of the discussion, all of the, oh, do they really deserve this spot as soon as possible? And they can do that with a strong performance coming out on map 1. Of course, this is a team that we've talked a lot about in the past. We've seen players like TPA, Morocco, Track, and all step up and do very, very impressive things. But today, against Surf, we need to see their most impressive performance yet. They have to pull out all the stops. This is a very intimidating opponent that they are going up against right now. And with a spotty record, this team needs to go absolutely nuclear. They're going to have to pull out all the stops and hope that the 11 days they've had since their last matchup, because again, the Aerial Arise game was forfeit, that 11 days has been enough to prep, to prepare, to get ready to go and take down Surf. If, like many of us, they've been, sitting back, relaxing by the fire, enjoying some holiday spirit, maybe that'll, keep them maybe motivated. But the one thing is, that is not going to prepare them enough for a game like today.
Yeah, now, they did take Aerial Arise, the Challenger League team, very, very close in the game they played against them, which is great. And that might, help them against Surf, considering Aerial Arise, very aggressive team. So our server, we want to take a look at the maps. We're playing on Chalet, Cafe, and Oregon. Interesting that Achieve are choosing to bring Surf to Chalet, and Surf are picking a little bit more of a structured map in Cafe. I remember watching the map bans happen. I was really expecting Surf to bring out something like a coastline. But I was figuring, hey, Achieve aren't necessarily, they haven't been together all that long. If they're going to be, kind of aggressive and loose, we don't want to take them to a map that really fits in that play style. We are aggressive, but we can play tight. I think that's the biggest thing that we've seen about Surf is they can play aggressive, they can play off their gun skill, but when it comes down to it, they can play the utility game. They do have the ability to play structure, and I think that's definitely going to help them on, at the very least, on Cafe and Oregon.
Well, let's take a look at our predictions, Harrison, and see kind of where everyone thinks this one is going to go. I expect that we're going to have pretty consistent predictions, and yes, we are in this case. And this frankly isn't much of a surprise, as we've already hinted at. Surf is a team who has gone 2-0. They haven't lost a series yet. And Achieve, well, they've lost one series, and a series that they probably were going to lose, they ended up winning it by a forfeit win. And I say they were going to lose that series because they had already played Aerial Arise, and they had already lost to that team in the past. Unless they made dramatic changes over a 1-2 week time period, the result, I think, would have been pretty much expected. So everyone going Surf tonight. But Harrison, we've seen how we can often curse this if we're not careful. So I am not going to count Achieve out of the mix yet, especially because we're starting out, like you said, Harrison, on a more, maybe explosive, an aggressive map like Chalet. We could see a lot more surprising plays from Achieve, and as I said, they've got to start out fast, and they've got to do it right away.
Now, something that's interesting about this map pick in particular is that both these teams have played it once. Surf played it against Aerial Arise Academy. They won in overtime 8-6. Achieve have played this map once, and they lost it 7-5 to Aerial Arise, the Challenger League team. Both these teams they've played the two different eras. I keep having to differentiate. But so I don't know if that's going to hurt Achieve here. Now, I guess, technically Surf have played more rounds on it, whatever. But, we've talked about Surf. They can play aggressive. They can play structured. They can play utility. And while Chalet can be a relatively complex map, it also can play into that raw aggression. And, that combination that Surf has, I feel, can only do them favors.
Right, it's a map where we see a little bit of both. And in terms of the bans, we often see a little bit of both as well, right? You have a utility focus in terms of those bans, but you also want to, allow yourself, especially on the defensive side, to be a bit safer in whatever power positions you're holding, to allow your roamers to, run all over the map and go crazy. That's the Flores ban, right? You want to keep those deployable shields up as long as possible. You want to take those Rotero drones out of the mix, and that is exactly what these teams will do. The Mira is well off the board. The Valkyrie and the Thatcher, none of these bans are surprising at all. Pretty much the standard 4 bans we've been seeing, honestly, Harrison, on it feels like a majority of the maps we've seen as of late. These are the bans that often persist to a map like Cafe as well. Even Oregon sees similar bans.
Yeah.
And so especially here, we're not too surprised, and we will have the pretty typical defensive and attacking lineups in play right now. Something of note, the Wamai, something that is often banned, especially recently, will be in the mix if defensive teams want to bring him out.
Yeah, now this could be big for positions like Piano, your top blue shield, a chimney shield, such and such, with Wamai being left up and Flores being banned. So you give those shields a lot more longevity, but like you said, Surf, they still have Jaeger, they still have a Rooney, so they're happy with those, the combination of those two. And they're also extending up to the top floor, as this is a dining defense, and you pretty much always hold the top floor for as long as possible. Some teams will opt to just kind of tentatively hold inside of the master closet bathroom area. Some teams opt to push up all the way into office and piano and really make sure that the attack have to work for every single inch. Another interesting fact about Surf's lineup is, well, it's Ambi on the Echo. Now, Ambi has been a player that we've highlighted a lot on Surf. We talk about Ashen and Asian all the time being, the star performers. We talk about Reedsing being the solid support. But we also talk a lot about Ambi, how Ambi has been doing really well on roles that, knowing Ambi, are really surprising to see him on, like the flank watch. He's always on the Nomad. He's on stuff like Echo and sometimes more supportive operators. And for me, especially, again, knowing Ambi for as long as I have it, just knowing the kind of person Ambi is, seeing him on those roles is really surprising. But he's been doing tremendously, way past adequate. So seeing him on the Echo, again, it's kind of like that initial shock of, oh, Echo, that's weird. But then you think about it, it's actually probably the perfect role for him. I've heard his comms are excellent. As the office wall is already being breached a minute into the round, that's pretty good time for Achieve so far.
Well, Harrison, as you said, the beautiful thing about those yokai drones as well, especially on a site like this where you're prioritizing both that top floor extension and the on-site hold, is you can, slap one of those yokai drones upstairs, move them around, get some intel for your team, and as you said, utilize your ability to make good call-outs and provide as much intel to your defensive team as possible. So when Achieve eventually get that wall open like they have upstairs, you are ready to deny their push into the site. That's what Twizzler is going to begin to set up now. We're seeing him, toss a couple of those flash grenades over. Now cooking up a nade. That's going to be Riot, trying to maybe deal with that Electro Claw that Ashen now threw down just another. But that was perfectly timed, but Morocco will be able to get that one down eventually. But a great C4 is going to be tossed over, possibly pre-placed actually, and that's going to shut down Morocco. Exothermic charge did detonate, so Morocco's job, even though he's dead now, he did get his job done.
Yeah, that's the fortunate thing. It was a post-breach death, I guess we can call it. As Asian's shield upstairs gets taken out, Reed taking a lot of damage thanks to TPA holding on to West Main. And Asian, though he goes down, Spiff has the cover. So the roam clear unsuccessful, and now that Traken is dead, you don't have that sledge upstairs. Riot is going to miss a couple shots, but Twizzler does pick up the kill onto Ashen, but they still trail by one man. Now Asian is extremely lit up, but he still has the top floor, and Reed still has this shield. Riot tries to just crouch walk his way in, but dies to the SMG-11. And now TPA and Twizzler, they're separated, but TPA will get one kill, can't find the second. Ambi shuts him down, and the Lion, waiting through the smoke, gets cut down from above. Spiff and Asian still with that vertical control, denying that breach, and Surf take round number one.
Oh, the use of those smokes there from Reed, that was, simply textbook, right? Every single player from Achieve who tried to push in that breach, they were met with a face full of toxic gas, incredibly poor visibility, not to mention their health was constantly being chipped away. Really well played from him behind that shield, also getting a couple of kills while he was at it. But, more than that, Surf doing a fantastic job of utilizing both the on-site pressure and maintaining the vertical control above. And this is something we talk a lot about on these sites that do involve quite a bit of clear and a bit of vertical control and vertical destruction. If the attacking teams start off and try to clear that out, taking the time, using that utility, but then they fail to cover that for their execute, well, the result is a lot like what we just saw in round number one. Surf was able to retake into office, maintaining that vertical control and utilizing that to shut down the pressure down below. And even if they weren't able to actually get a kill, they had some intel. They always had somebody there threatening from above. There really wasn't much Achieve could do when they tried to push on in, given how much control they had maybe taken earlier, but they had eventually sacrificed and given back to the defense.
Yeah, it was that top floor control that really did achieve in at the end there. I mean, especially because they just couldn't take away those anchor positions. Reed Sink, happy to sit behind his shield and gas out. You know, there was no pressure on the player in kitchen. So hopefully achieve, learn their lesson for next time they attack that site, that they really need to take these people from the Surf Roam out before moving in. It's something that we've seen time and time again from the Surf Roamers. If you do not force them back to site, if you just try to hold them, they will punish you. Surf's Roam is... what I love to do is kind of explain the dichotomy between Surf's Roam and Mystic's Roam. Mystic love to stay hidden. They love to rat. They love to play the surprise game. Surf love to say, hey, we're roaming. We're over here. Try and clear us. We dare you. And a lot of times, it works out well in Surf's favor just because of the incredible amount of gun skill and coordination that these kids have. A nade will go up from Traken. I believe that does away with the shield that Ashen was playing behind if he had a shield to his name to begin with. Ambi is over here playing as the alibi aggressively in piano and office. He'll get droned and he'll start to fall back towards Master, still holding on to the office balcony. Pre-fire comes his way, but TPA will miss all the shots. And the more time Ambi wastes here, the better, because that means Traken can't safely jump in because of the danger of a crossfire from piano. Asian is inside of lobby as well. It seems like Surf right now have the perfect angles to stop Achieve from gaining any ground.
They are applying so much pressure, and that's what's beautiful about this, is they have somebody from just about every single position trying to stop Achieve from simply getting in the building. And right now, it's working. Asian will get spotted out, and a couple of bullets will find his torso, but he is still alive and in the mix. And, well, this top floor hold is still very much a problem for Achieve. Ambi still locking down Piano, and he will collect one. Right after Ashen gets one of his own, now Traken will drop to the floor. Another great move from Surf. Now, Riot has an answer for that one. Will take down Spiff, so no more Jaeger, but once again, Ashen still upstairs. Still a problem for Achieve, and they simply have not covered all of their bases. Traken, now stuck between a rock and a hard place, is in the middle of a lethal crossfire, and Ambi will punish him. Ashen will secure a triple kill, and Surf will wipe the floor with that Achieve attack.
Ooh, and that was actually a Frostmat, too. That did him in. That's funny. So that's a 3K for Ashen and a 2K for Ambi. And what do they have in common, Jonah? All 5 of those kills were upstairs. Ashen playing in Chimney, Ambi playing by office and piano. He wasn't even supported. Ambi was by himself. That was just him and the gun. So if that doesn't tell you how not only how well Surf were holding those angles, but how poor the Achieve clear was, I don't know what will. It seemed like Ashen was just kind of swinging the library windows to start things off and able to find his picks. Just every time someone tried to pressure him, Ashen was able to find the kills. The things I really want to highlight is what happened over towards Ambi and Office. Right? TPA had the info. He knew that the alibi was in piano. He starts pre-firing over towards Master. He misses a couple shots. He pre-fires over towards Office. Ambi returns fire, and then TPA just tries to kind of walk in. That was odd. And then later in the round, Ambi, never being cleared, is able to kill Traken because, likewise, Traken thought it was safe to just simply sprint in. Now, I don't know if that was lack of intel per se, because they knew Ambi was there initially. I think TPA just misplayed off of the info. Maybe later in the round, that had an effect, but the clear was definitely questionable. And again, onto Ashen. Ashen was never flushed out. The Hibana pellets didn't go off properly onto the wall, so he was able to just continuously swing the 2 angles he had, cut down everyone on the window. But there's actually a rush happening on the site. Riot is already in, prone with the TCSG. Reed will completely demolish him. Wow. He'll send Riot flying. Morocco gets 1 before he's traded out, and now it's a 3 versus 4. Achieve, they have the site, but they don't have the man advantage, and they don't have the case. TPA will equalize, but not be able to find the second as the Mozzie comes in to support the man on site. As Ambi goes down, he can't retake, and now it's all up to Spiff.
Okay, well, Twizzler will get a kill here, and so that is going to leave the castle all alone. Diffuser going down and now secured. Castle's going to have to figure something out here. Spiff with a UMP in hand is going to have to get crazy, and that is not going to be allowed to happen. Good coverage there from Twizzler, and, well, a good mid-round recovery there from Achieve, who, well, despite maybe the early pressure that the rush applied, it did look like Surf had dealt with it for the most part. Really good gunplay, though, from Achieve. Really good job of covering the plethora of angles that Surf were then swinging from. I mean, once you're inside of Wine Cellar, you've got to worry about the pressure from behind. You've got to worry about the blue hall. You've got to worry about connector. And you've got to worry about the soft wall between the garage and the cellar. And they covered all of that pretty well. Great play from Twizzler there to get that last kill, tracking, getting the bomb down to make sure that Spiff had to step up and pressure and actually get aggressive. But overall, a good decision there from Achieve. After a, as you said, Harrison, a troubling top floor clear in the previous round, they say, you know what? This slow style, this methodical clear, it's not working when we have to deal with all of this roam. Let's throw all of that out the window and let's just bum rush into the site, and it worked.
Yeah, I was definitely not expecting that. I'm sure Surf were not either. I like the adaptation from Achieve, seeing how many roamers there were from Surf and how vacated the site was. It was really just Reed and I think one other. And, well, Reed got his one, but he was immediately traded out. And Achieve just played the trade game very well. Now Surf will return to Dining, where, again, Achieve had a very poor top floor clear. I mean, they didn't really try to clear. They tried to hold office and keep the roamers at bay, try and keep them from establishing that vertical presence. But as soon as that one guy left to hold top floor went down, well, the entire round kind of fell apart because Surf's anchor positions were so, just well positioned and they were playing off the utility so well. Riot just almost got spawn peaks, by the way. Ashen just staring out a window brought the Finka to her knees, but luckily Finka can res herself now. She's still got boosts. She can pick herself up off the ground. So he's back with about 25, 30-ish HP, though I'm sure Riot is not happy about the damage that's been done.
Right, because now he's got to make that decision as well. Does he want to use those Finka boosts to, heal himself back up a little bit now, or save those for the team a little bit later? And I think we've got our answer. Just going to boost the entire team, get a little bit more HP just to give him a little bit more back that he lost in that opening skirmish. But it's not like Achieve sat still while that boost happened. They are starting to take map control, and once again, they are trying to clear out this top floor. Now, what's going to be very important for Achieve is that, like last time, they get the top floor open and they apply the pressure. But more importantly, they need to maintain some semblance of pressure on that top floor the entire time. Even when the execute is going down, if they've got enough manpower, they've got to keep someone upstairs to make sure that Surf cannot retake and apply vertical pressure themselves. Right now, that's going to be the case. They've got 2 players still lingering upstairs, maybe 3, as 2 players work their way downstairs, open up that dining wall, and begin pressuring the site itself. The exothermic charge, this time it's gone off, and Morocco is still alive, so already significant progress and significant improvements being made from the last time they tried to approach this site.
But it doesn't look like they're all that worried about the top floor. You see those defenders up towards office are sitting perfectly safe. It looked like Traken was up there to maybe cause some chaos, but he's since fallen off. You see Twizzler's silhouette upstairs as well, but he's running back towards main. The Zoe is starting to stun out trophies. That'll distract Ambi for the meantime. Reed is sending out these gas canisters to completely halt the breach push once again, though it is a little bit earlier in the round. 40 seconds left, and he's just now used his second one, but Riot gets caught, I believe, with a nade in his hand by Ashen, so first pick goes the way of Surf, though Morocco will refrag. Asian still upstairs is looking for this Lion. Spiff on the site, kills TPA. Sophia, who is over by Trophy, now goes down. You no longer have that crossfire, and these players upstairs, if flushed out, can safely rotate through Trophy back to the site. So is there a Morocco? Very lit up right now in this 3 versus 4. Not the situation you want to be in, and as Morocco goes down, it's just Twizzler. Traken dead upstairs. He's barely got any HP to work with, and Spiff shuts him down. Surf take round number 4, extend their lead 3-1.
It's a challenging balancing act, figuring out how to apply pressure on the site and maintain top floor control. And we can see Achieve struggling with finding that perfect in-between, that sweet spot that is applying enough manpower on the site to win gunfights and get a bomb down, but is maintaining the top floor control. And this time, I think, even though it wasn't the cleanest, they did, for the most part, maintain top floor control loosely. Asian was never able to actually work his way all the way up and apply vertical pressure, he would have had the round maybe had 5 more seconds because he eventually did win that duel on the top floor. But good pressure being applied upstairs by Achieve made sure that the top floor pressure was delayed, or that retake from Surf was delayed. The on-site pressure this time was a little bit more of the problem. They did go a lot quicker, and they did make sure Reed burned those toxic smokes earlier in the round than Reed certainly would have liked. But when it came to making that push and just deciding, you know what, we're going to be decisive, we're going to push in, and we're going to take these gunfights, that is where things started to slow down. They lost a couple of gunfights to really long angles. Surf knew they were in a bit of an uncomfortable position, so they started to swing, to take gunfights, to challenge Achieve, and even though that's the playstyle we've seen from Surf now several rounds in a row, Achieve didn't seem prepared for that. They got caught off guard, and a 2-man push in the site against 3 or 4 on-site defenders, that was simply not going to work out.
Yeah, again, Surf's positioning on the site is very well done. Have to admire it. And again, I mean, it's Achieve trying to go for like that minimal take that's just not working out. Now we're back on Garage, but Achieve are very clearly not going for that rush again. Surf are roaming without having to worry about their anchors suddenly dying in the first 30 seconds of the round. As Garage typically relies on how well you can roam, why not push the likes of Asian, Ashen, and Ambi AAA on that duty? Already 40 seconds in, and Ashen has taken an opening pick, nearly catching the second, but Traken does not let the Mozzie pull the trigger, so it ends up being 1-for-1, but look at who you've lost on the attack. You've traded out a Mozzie, one of the roamers, for your only hard breacher.
And especially on this site, that is going to be a problem. With a rush attempt likely out of the window, and now that we are 1 minute in, it's confirmed we're not going to see that from Achieve. You no longer have the X-Kairos pellets that you desperately need to approach this bomb site and do it with at least a couple of angles and establish some sort of crossfire. Surf know this and likely are going to exploit this by just maybe not taking as many gunfights as we would normally expect. They can bunker down on a site that they know is now maybe thrice as secure as it was before. They can just bunker down behind a hard wall and sit there knowing that Achieve are going to have to force themselves through a doorway, try to apply some sort of pressure from above. And while they've got the utility and manpower to do that, and frankly, now they have the map control to do that, it is going to be hard to actually push the site. Maybe not get a frag, but it will be hard to actually get boots on the ground and get the bomb on the ground as well. But I talked about that passivity. Spiff maybe changing his mind a little bit, might want to retake over this top floor, but he'll back off now that Ambi is the one who steps up and gets a kill onto Traken.
That was over towards blue stairs. I was going to make a comment on how for the first time this map we are seeing vertical play from the sledge, but is very quickly shut down. But TPA does get the refrag, so we're still even. 3-3, ending the last 40 seconds. Asian is the next man looking to take the fight, and he won't land it just yet on the TPA. They both exchange a lot of bullets with each other. I believe both these players now just at 1 HP. There is the Finka applying a little bit of healing power to TPA, but Yasha solo before that, I doubt that's going to help all that much. There is no smoke this time, and there is no C4 in the pocket of Reed, so there is nothing stopping these attackers getting these plant downs, save the guns of the defense. Spiff holding the long angle, finds Twizzler. Hatch control still in the favor of the defense as well. In comes TPA, but there's that hatch presence. Asian gets 1 and 2. Surf with round number 5. They thought they cleared the roam, but the visual was still up there.
Well, he was, downstairs in that blue hall for some time, taking that fight with, who was the Ash?
It was TPA.
It was TPA, right. Taking that fight with TPA for, a good amount of time. But once that fight was over, once TPA jumped out the window and rotated around, the Vigil decided to step up and say, you know what? I can retake this top floor. All the vertical control that the attackers spent so much time securing. Wait a minute. I can use it to my advantage now. He did exactly that. He, of course, applied even more pressure than maybe Surf even needed to get those final 2 kills, but made sure to secure the round. A 4-1 defensive half right now for Surf. Pretty dominant so far, and I think we're getting a pretty good indicator as to why Surf elected to start things out on defense. We mentioned this earlier, Harrison, when we noticed that both teams actually chose to defend Chalet, when they got the choice, Achieve electing to defend in overtime if we get that far, which is a bit unusual considering this map generally leans attacker-sided, but Surf proving that tonight we are seeing, at the very least, a Surf-sided Chalet, but possibly a defensive-sided Chalet, as they clearly have a very good defensive hold over this map, and even going to a bomb site that they had already lost to a rush attempt, going back there even though they didn't have to when Baron Games was still on the board, proving their competency twice over.
4-1 as we head back onto Bar, which Surf had defended exceptionally, or rather roamed exceptionally on. It was Ashen getting 3 kills by Chimney and Ambi getting 2 over by Office, though it looks like Ambi now has help. Asian has rotated up to, never mind, I lied. Asian had rotated up, maybe just to place a goo mine or something. It was rotating back down. I know. I remember in the previous round we saw him placed in lobby, in and around there. And it looks like Achieve are completely changing their push. Okay, so I like this from Achieve, figuring, hey, with the way that Surf were playing it last time, it was really hard for us to try and get in through Library. Asian has since rotated back up to help Ambi. So now we're going to swap up. We're going Solar side. Solar has become an extremely popular method of attack because it doesn't really require a whole lot of control, but it does give you a lot once you take it. Asian right now stuck between a rock and a hard place. There's people on his solar window, someone on his double window as well, but he's still looking to take the fights, and he will absolutely demolish Track and pop in the Sledge's head, and now you've lost that potential for vertical play as well as a set of nades.
Ashen will throw away his life right after those, so the success that you found, maybe it's going to be answered somewhat, especially because those Wamai magnets will no longer regenerate, and we'll have no more of those to apply on a site that, well, often heavily depends on the ability of those magnets to be in play. I suspect Ashen felt comfortable with the utility he had put down, otherwise he likely would not have taken such an aggressive step, but I mean, if you're talking utility game, like you said, Harrison, losing your Sledge is also incredibly detrimental to this attack, especially an attack that is gearing up towards clearing out this top floor, and that will eventually have to turn its sights towards the first floor. Losing that vertical pressure, that breaching hammer, is likely going to be a problem. But the clear from Achieve right now, I like at least the desire that they're showing right now, at least the place they're pushing from, taking control of Piano, something that they neglected to even do at all last time, letting Ambi run wild. This time, they've got Piano control, and this time they are burning out this top blue shield. Long angle found there from Spiff. He'll go 1-for-1, though, with TPA. A lot of bullets being found by either player. Still, 4 versus 4 with 45 seconds to play.
And Ambi's still in Chimney. Not quite sure if the attackers are aware of this. Well, they are now, as he slightly lights up Morocco and drops back down into lobby, leaving Spiff all on his lonesome upstairs. Asian has since departed from blue as well, but Spiff is able to find his freebie, killing TPA, and now falling back to the site. 3 versus 4 is Achieved just now claimed top floor control with 25 seconds left. Every member from Surf now either on the site or near it. Ambi, though, is on main stairs. He can stop anyone trying to drop into lobby for free. As Swizzer comes down, he could be the first victim, but Ambi misses the pre-fire, eventually finds the Lion. 4 versus 2 now. Riot can't make any headway down blue stairs. Morocco gets a trade and another, but it's not enough as Reed shuts him down. Surf take round 6 and a 5-1 defensive half on Chalet.
Very impressive performance from Surf, and that is, I think, putting it mildly. That was another dominant round, and even though Achieve showed that they knew how to approach that attack this time, making a couple of good changes, which, frankly, is a good sign. Harrison, a good sign and showing that you know how to attack is not going to win you rounds. You actually have to execute that plan. You have to show that you actually can win rounds on the attack, and unfortunately for Achieve, the only round that they were able to secure was the full-fledged rush attempt that caught Surf by surprise. When Surf have walked into engagements knowing what to expect, when they haven't been caught off guard, they have won most engagements, most positioning battles, most utility battles, and most rounds as a result. 5-1 is dominant, and I suspect that's going to continue here from Surf unless Achieve can really shake things up and change things around, where obviously the quick timeout could help them out here, could adjust the momentum, stop the bleeding maybe, but Harrison, it is quite a comeback they're going to need to make if they want to have a shot at going to OT.
Yeah, Surf been looking incredible on their Chalet defense, and I can only imagine that we'll see probably the same skill and tenacity as on their attack, because we've got some replays for you now of that last round. And I mean, again, the positioning, right? Asian is in Master, rotating through Closet with someone on his double window rappel and 2 people on the solar rappel, and he still kills the double window player. Like, I don't know how he got away with that. Now, Ashen maybe got a little bit over-aggressive, yes, but who was there to take his place? Ambi. Ambi's sitting in Chimney. Spiff is still in Library. And Ambi and Spiff are both able to fall back with 1 kill between the two, and Achieve don't have top floor until 25 seconds left. It was so slow. There was so little pressure being established to any of these roamers because Achieve tried to adjust the strategy, and all come from solar. So I think maybe they slightly over-adjusted there in that round, but now we can see how good Surf are on their attack. Achieve are down on bar, the site that they were fortunately unable to even crack the top floor hold on their attacks. We'll see if Surf can do any better.
Right, I mean, we highlighted Achieve in their new approach, their adjustments on that previous Barn Games attack, but I suspect that Surf will come right out of the gate with that cohesive plan. More often than not, what I'm referring to here is the way that attacking teams will opt to clear out this top floor. We will sometimes see attacking teams just go straight into Library and apply the pressure from those Library windows and maybe from that balcony window and just try to just inundate those defenders in there with utility, with flashbangs, and just force them out. But more often than not, we will see that push initiate from the Solarium side of the map, from the Master side of the top floor. They'll work their way through Piano before eventually contesting onto that top blue shield. It does seem that Surf is going to go with the former. They are now directly approaching Library, and likely their goal is going to be to clear out Riot as soon as possible, and that's why Riot is sitting here in the corner with a Nitro in hand, ready to just take down anyone who's willing to push in prematurely.
I imagine a nade with his name on it should be cooked soon. I think I just heard a pin being pulled. Of course, they will need Burn before going for it, as he has plenty of ADSs and Wamidus. The flashes are coming through. C4 goes out over by Sandwich, but it will only succeed in damaging Spiff. The nade is here to follow, but the Goyo has since gotten away. Riot able to fall back down to site with those nades being burned by the ADSs, so Surf's utility game not as potent as we're used to seeing, and TPA has a double shield setup, one in his chimney, one in his library doorway. Asian has now spotted Riot, who's peeking those floor holes. Spiff can't safely make his way in through Sandwich because of it. Ashen is currently watching the chimney rotate, but it's TPA to find the opening pick. In fact, I believe the first opening pick for Achieve this entire match so far onto Asian.
Yeah, starting off on the right foot, not even in terms of the utility, but in terms of the fragging as well. And it doesn't look like it's going to slow down unless somebody from Achieve, rather from Surf, on this top floor can step up and find a frag. Achieve look like they're holding this one until the foreseeable future. As I say that, though, Reed will open things up for Surf with a good kill onto TPA, shutting down the Wamai, removing any additional magnets from being put in play. And, well, Achieve have an answer for that. Kraken, top blue, has not been dealt with, and so Ambi will fall as a result. Now Ashen has to figure out where the Jaeger is positioned and has no idea he's sitting in the close corner. That's a double kill for Kraken now. Reed will get 2 though, so at least bringing it back somewhat for Surf, but it's a 2v3 with Surf on the back foot, and with 50 seconds to go, Achieve are sitting poised and ready to take this round.
Yeah, definitely questioning that play from the sledge. Ambi just kind of walking at the shield and giving himself up to Tracken. Reed opening that barricade with no info, has no idea Tracken is sitting inside of Coat now. The Jaeger is repositioned, and that's going to be a triple kill for him. Now, Spiff in a 1 versus 3. Left to pick up the pieces. He's going to have to come fight against Tracken, who's on a heater. He'll be able to shut down the Jaeger, but he still needs to find 2 more, Morocco and Twizzler. Morocco peeking out from the bar stock, firing just pot shots, delaying the sledge oh so little by little. And now that the sledge has taken a bullet from Frostgun, he is so low, and as he's distracted by the player in bar, Morocco swings out to finally collect his kill, and the first defense of the new half will go Achieve's way.
Well, it's the little things, Harrison, and you mentioned it right off the bat. Those 2 frag grenades that were wasted, that were burned out by a fantastic use of utility from Achieve. Really just started off Surf on the wrong foot. And when they tried to make up for that problem, they only found themselves in a bigger hole than they started, losing the opening duel, eventually getting it back. But with limited utility and the clock starting to tick away, we saw how they started to take more individual, a lot more risky gunfights. And in this case, I mean, it was Traken who just tore that attack apart, almost single-handedly, I might add. A triple kill on the Jaeger, just sitting on the top of blue stairs and tearing Surf apart, really preventing them from getting any on-site pressure started because they hadn't successfully cleared out the top floor. We've talked about how potent Surf's utility game can be and how Achieve have struggled seemingly with that type of play style here tonight on Chalet. But in that round, Achieve got the better of Surf in every sense of the word. And, well, I suppose Achieve, all they've got to do is try to continue that and not let Surf gain any of that momentum back.
Yeah, that's the hard part, though, is keeping up that momentum and keep catching Surf off guard. The next site is Dining, and once again, we're going to have to see a top floor clear from Surf. Hopefully better than the last round, as once again Achieve are putting a lot of faith in these shields, in this utility placed upstairs. They even have a Mute to stop any drone work. Mute actually surprisingly absent from a lot of Surf's lineup. I know they really like their Mute play on maps like Coastline and pretty much every other map in the flow. Surprised not to see it pretty much at all, I think, on their Chalet defenses. But Achieve will not prescribe by the same philosophy. They will, of course, bring the Mute immediately. They've got Goyo shields upstairs, ADSs upstairs, and the like. And Surf are completely clearing from library side, as most teams do on this site. So, of course, step number one, probably going to be to open that office wall as soon as possible.
Right, this is a site that we saw several times from Surf and one that always went their way. Something that they will have to do, like Achieve, will be dealing with that top floor pressure and trying to maintain some semblance of control, at least for a good bit in the round. Not just opening it, but maintaining that control is going to be essential. Now, Surf, they are a team who doesn't shy away from aggression. They won't shy away from pushing the site if they feel they can. And so we might see that here because Reed has already opened up this dining wall, after all, doing that before heading upstairs and getting that square wall open. So they have made a good bit of progress. More than that, they've forced Morocco to use one of those toxic smokes already. Ashen as well, opening things up. Surf getting that opening pick and shutting down Riot. That takes off a valuable nitro cell from the site, leaving Twizzler with the only C4 in pocket, and Morocco with a now dwindling count of those C4s to deny the plant. Or toxic smokes, rather.
TPA also getting baited by the Twitch drone. Killed by Spiff. He's even confused about what he just did. That was funny. And now it's a 5v3 in favor of Surf, and they haven't really even taken top floor yet. Another Lion scan goes out. Traken on West Main stairs, able to find a kill of his own, but Reed is getting the plant down, and Twizzler upstairs is dead. It's just Traken and Morocco that the planter is killed by Traken. Inadequate cover from the attack on the initial plant attempt. Now, what was a 5v3 has now dwindled to a 3 versus 2. Only a one-man lead here for Surf, as they now ascend to the top floor, looking to clear any remaining players out, of which there are none, and perhaps use the sledge to the best of their ability and clear out some of these anchor positions that Traken and Morocco are holding. Now, mind you, the Smoke, who used some gas canisters very early on, now with 25 seconds left, still has one remaining. He will use the last, but be able to demolish Spiff on the hatch. Beautiful shot from Morocco, and Asian is up next, looking for that refrag, but he can't find it either, just bot walking around the hatch. He'll also be dumpstered by the Smoke, and now Ambi's alone in a 1 versus 2, and he can't do anything. Morocco killing all 3 of the remaining Surf players, and they played that 3v2 horribly.
Yeah, some surprising misplays there from Surf. There is no doubt about that. We saw, I mean, you could see it on the kill feed. You could see it just in the way those last 3 players just kind of wandered around the map. It was 3 individuals, not a team. There was no team in the last 60 seconds of that round at all from Surf. They just decided to play maybe overconfident, maybe a little too cocky. And they found themselves in a bit of trouble because Morocco just fried all 3 of them with an SMG-11, and doing so, 2 very impressive kills on the hatch and then 1 more on the site just to finish it out. But man, big turn of events there in the final few seconds. Achieve. We talked about how hard it would be to maintain that momentum, Harrison, but they've done so. That's 2 rounds in a row for them. And Surf struggling, definitely struggling in the last 2 rounds.
Interesting that Achieve are taking the timeout after winning that round. Although I'm sure, Morocco basically 1v3ing at the end there is not how they wanted to win. Surf did have a very good early round with Ashen getting the first pick, TPA getting kind of baited by the shock drone into Spiff. But it was the execute from Surf that really did not go as planned. And now, surprisingly, both teams have avoided Master. We did not see Master at all from Surf in their 6 rounds of defense, and Achieve are going to go Garage. So both teams favoring the basement rather than the top floor site. Definitely not what we're used to on Chalet. Garage is typically seen as the worst site on the map, just because of how open it is, how easy it is for attackers to gain massive amounts of control. I mean, you open up the snowmobile garage wall and you pretty much have the entire site on lock if you're an attacker. I mean, you open up the red wall and you open up the wine cellar wall and you pretty much have all of wine available to execute onto. So Garage is definitely considered a weaker site, but if you can roam really well, it can go your way. I'm definitely interested though as to why they're not playing Master at all.
Well, you highlighted the roam, and I think that is what we're going to see a good bit of, especially because TPA, you can see bringing out the Oryx, indicating that, yes, a roam is the intention. Tracken, though, quite the opposite, right? Bringing out those Kona stations on the Thunderbird, indicating that maybe there's going to be a good bit of anchor presence as well, or something of a happy medium. Right now, it is just TPA all alone on this top floor, likely to be supported by both Riot and Tracken, who will now be also initiating a good bit of a roam. But as you highlighted it, Harrison, I just took a look at when that timeout was called, because it was definitely a bit curious. Achieve called that timeout at the very beginning, or right before the previous round started, feeling that, things are starting to slip away. Maybe we should take a timeout. I don't think they expected, much like us or Surf, did not expect Morocco to just burn through those last 3 attackers. So, well played from Morocco, but Achieve nonetheless still looking to take as much time as possible to regroup and talk about things they can continue to do well in these continuous defensive rounds.
It's a very long angle being held by Riot. I think we also haven't really mentioned the defender lineup right now. The roam is being aided by Thunderbird gadgets that are kind of scattered around both the upstairs and downstairs. And we've also got the Oryx TPA donning that operator, I guess, valuing him for his fast movement and rotatability. But Riot will be the first dead, and Ashen finds a second onto Tracken from around the shield, and he'll move right on in, claiming blue as his own, but he peeks on ADS into Morocco, who's hiding behind the shelf. And as the breach gets opened, Morocco is in a very dangerous position. Reed will deal a lot of damage to this smoke, cutting him down to now below half, and as the smoke tries to rotate out, he's caught by Spiff playing on main stairs. That leaves it all up to Twizzler and TPA. Twizzler in blue now getting lit up from outside the breach, and TPA upstairs dealing damage to Ambi, but the Lion is going to shrug it off, figuring, hey, if we just take out this one guy on site, that could be an easy plant, but Ambi instead will be felled on the blue stairs. Twizzler killing him and Reed. 2 kills now for the Cade, even in the man count. 2 versus 2. Asian and Spiff against Twizzler and TPA. Nade being sent in towards behind pillar will only deal chip damage to TPA, and the diffuser is dropped in the site over towards the connector doorway. Twizzler still lives as well, although he's lit up, and Asian gets caught. No idea Twizzler's still in blue, despite Ambi dying to that position earlier. Lack of awareness from Asian, or a lack of a call from the team, now puts Spiff in a 1 versus 2, lit up by the shield. He'll send a nade out to try and clear it, but Twizzler has since backed off, and what again should have been a Surf round has spiraled into chaos, into a 1vx that should never have been. And Spiff now only has 25 seconds to pick up the pieces. You can see the defenders starting to rotate off, starting to back off, knowing that they can play for time, and Twizzler, with his 4th kill of the round, saves it for Achieve.
I have no idea what Surf were thinking in those closing seconds. See, there's no real excuse for letting one player to just decimate your entire team, and Surf have done that 3 rounds in a row now. First it was Tracken, 3 kills. Then it was Morocco, triple kill, and I think Twizzler just got another triple kill. That is a problem for Surf, to say the least. Especially in that last round, we can highlight several mistakes, but one that I think was the most egregious was Asian, as the Yana, pushing in to Snowmobile Garage to recover that diffuser while Spiff was busy rotating upstairs. Like, there was no support for Asian. There was no reason to push into a site, into a crossfire they suspected was still there, without your teammate to support you. Because Spiff, there was a reason he was rotating around. He wanted to get some sort of pressure on Blue Hallway. They knew Twizzler was there because he had already gotten a double kill, and they spent 2 different frag grenades on nading him out, one of which took him down to just 10 HP. Rotating Spiff around to guarantee Blue Hall control is a fantastic idea, and considering they had 45 seconds left on the clock, they didn't have to rush and get ahead of themselves, but what did Asian do? He walked in without his teammate, got himself cut down, no trade could be found because Spiff was busy rotating, and then Spiff found himself in a 1v2 in an impossible situation. Surf on the struggle bus, riding it comfortably right now, and Achieve are looking better and better each round, building confidence, building gun skill, and it was just until last round, it was only Tracken and Morocco to, hit that 7 kill mark. But with Twizzler, a triple kill, he's now got 8 kills. Morocco has 8 kills, and they are just starting to build confidence, get more frags, and Surf are struggling in several aspects of the game.
And TPA will knock Reed off very early. That is your Thermite now dead, though it will not go unanswered. Ashen refrags Tracken, so it's something, but it's not great. This was a 5-1 half, lest we forget. And Surf have lost the last 3 rounds in a row thanks to individual heroic efforts from members of Achieve. So they've gone 1 for 1 now in the initial trade. C4 being ripped by Riot to maybe intimidate the players on Sandwich. He's got ADSs and Womidus once again, so Surf are going to have to be on top of their utility play if they want to take this Goyo out of position, as there's just kind of like a cold war right now between the C4 and between the nade. Suns will come in once again. Without the Sons of Reed, though, the burn isn't going to be as efficient, but Asian's nade still catches Riot. Okay. Goyo halfway down the hatch still dies to it. Though, I guess good library cleared so far, and a 1-man advantage now for Surf.
I think it was a little bit of a lucky mistake there from Surf. The nade didn't quite reach all the way in the corner. It was a little bit in between, and so they caught him as he tried to work his way down the hatch. So good timing there from Surf, no question about that, and they will have the advantage as a result. Not as much of one as they would have liked. Of course, losing Reed early is never a great sign, but on this bomb site, the Thermite is really the least of your worries. You're going to want to prioritize that fragging potential, those frag grenades, those smoke grenades in the case of Ashen, and, well, the breaching hammer from Spiff is something you're going to want as well. TPA, though, after getting that opening pick, still has not been forced out of library, even though Surf have done a pretty good job at getting this clear going. Asian now, or Ashen rather, will be sitting outside the window and will be looking to pressure onto Twizzler, who is still on the top of blue stairs. Smoke will come out in an effort to continue to burn this utility, and in the meantime, Spiff is just going to step up and go into this bomb site. A pre-fire towards bar stock. He won't quite be able to find Morocco, who steps up and fries him. Mistake again there for Surf. It's a 3v3. Twizzler, another to answer back, takes down Ashen. Now Asian, a double kill of his own, will step up and recover one onto TPA, and there's Asian, a triple kill on the round, finishing off Twizzler. It's all up to Morocco in a 1v2.
That play from Surf initially was very questionable, but they're still able to recover it, at least seemingly for now, as they still got to try and cut through Morocco. There's no case control, but Ambi finishes him off, and Surf take round number 10, making sure that the scoreline remains in their favor, not tied. The top floor clear initially from Surf was not, it was okay. They went 1 for 1. And then they kill the Goyo. Things are definitely looking Surf so far. But things kind of halt towards the mid-round, right? They don't make a lot of forward progress in terms of the utility play on the top floor players towards Chimney and towards top blue. In fact, they don't really burn utility at top blue or Chimney at all. They just try to shove their way in. While smoking through top blue and Ivy, Spiff just kind of walks in the bar, you know, he kind of wants to surprise Morocco, get the drop on him, and free up the site for his team while those two top floor players are still, you know, stuck holding off the clear. But he loses the fight because he tries going for a pre-fire on a player who is tucked way farther into the corner than he expected. And then, yeah, again, Ashen just kind of walks in. Doesn't know Twizzler is, I think that was Twiz, was like heaven. That was a confusing round from Surf, but they were still able to win it out thanks to the efforts of Asian and Ambi. So, I mean, whatever, I guess. We are going back to Bar, though, and for Surf's sake, I hope they're at least a little bit more thorough. I think that's so far been one of the biggest deciding factors of Achieve's defenses, is a lot of times towards the mid to late round, Surf just don't look like they're being very thorough.
Yeah, the Surf mid-round has been I think the most concerning part. We've seen so many rounds where they'll start off with an advantage and then they lose it a little bit in the mid-round. And for several rounds now, 3 in a row, between rounds 7, 8, and 9, that mid-round resulted in a thrown advantage of some kind, and then eventually a troubling end round as a result. But finally, in round 10, they were able to recover from some mid-round issues and bring things back towards the last few seconds. So, heading over to match point, looking to win Chalet finally after a couple of troubling rounds. They will start things off with the opening pick yet again. TPA not able to get the opening pick this time. In fact, the only thing he will find is a face full of flash grenades as the clear from Surf gets underway. TPA being droned out. The push now from Library coming in at a mounting pace, because Surf know they've got a bit of an advantage and they're forcing Achieve into a bit more uncomfortable positions. Asian has done that. Perfect nade, finishing off TPA. Morocco, though, a good answer onto Ambi.
Ooh, and Twizzler, another onto Ashen, finding the Twitch, who looked like she was having a little bit of trouble with her shock drone. Now, what was an advantage for Surf is equalized. 3 apiece for each of these teams. And about a minute and a half for the attack to play with. And Asian is just going to walk through coat check at the blue player and die to the crossfire being held because the camera's still up. Another really questionable decision from a Surf player. Now you're left with just Reed and Spiff. Again, this was a 4v3, maybe even a 5v3 for Surf. That has now dwindled as they've lost 3 men in a row. Reed finally has an answer. He cuts down Twizzler. They've got pings on a player in the hallway as well, so they know Morocco is on site pretty much alone, unless Tracken, you know, kind of rejoins him, though he is holding the crossfire from coat check, so it's not like Morocco is completely without support. Reed has now deviated, he and Spiff on opposite sides of the hallway. Spiff coming in from blue, Reed over towards the dining side. He's holding this Jaeger in coat check, at least for now, as Spiff now rotates around, maybe looking to join the Thermite on that side of the map. No, he's actually going over towards, he's going over towards coat check to kill Tracken with the pinch. But no, Spiff loses the fight. You can't be losing that pre-fire. And as Reed goes for the refrag, Morocco cuts him down. Once again, Surf, you have the advantage and you are just unable to transition it to success.
A problem now that I've seen a couple of times from Surf is it seems like they are moving a little bit too fast for their own good towards the end of the round. So often do we see Surf in a position where they've established what feels like the end round, like what feels like we generally see with like 10 seconds left, like a 2v2 standoff. Often we see that after the execute has happened, when the skirmish is finally finished, and we see after the dust settles, we've got 2 players standing from each team, and who's going to make the first move? Generally with 10 or 15 seconds left in the round. But Surf have gotten to that position, and Achieve have forced them into that position with roughly 60 seconds to go, like a full minute to go on several occasions, both in the flubbed snowmobile garage and wine cellar attack and in that round just then. 60 seconds, a full minute for Surf to work with in a 2v2 or even in a 3v2, and they maybe get a bit ahead of themselves, right? They try to force themselves into taking fights that they have no business taking, or they don't take the time to drone something out or use a bit of utility they might still have in pocket. Another example there of where they just couldn't deal with one player sitting in a closet, sitting with no escape. He had one doorway that was being covered and one window that, well, his back was exposed to. Spiff rotated around, but I guess he didn't expect Traken to shoot back. It was really unclear in those few moments, exactly what Spiff thought was going to happen. Did he think Traken had no idea he was rotating around? I mean, he did make a good bit of noise dropping down from the balcony. I don't know. Either way, I digress. Surf, still on match point, still could win this one, but in the critical points, we said they have to close out their maps. That could not be more true right now.
Yeah, again, this was 5-1 at the half. We're now at 6-5. Surf have completely blown their lead. We could be looking at OT. Now, of course, Dining should have been a Surf round, previous go-around. It was Morocco with a 3K, just demolishing the last 3 Surf players that really put it in his team's win column. And that was really the only thing that Achieve had going for them, right? Everything else about that round was Surf. Everything else about that round should have pointed to a Surf victory. All they got to do is repeat that process and then not let Morocco go huge, I guess. He's not on the SMG-11. He's on Meister this time. Which is actually, okay, that's interesting. There's no smoke. And Twizzler is now dead upstairs.
I guess good start for Surf. Doesn't mean much, as we've seen in the previous round, so we're not going to get ahead of ourselves in terms of this Surf advantage, but what they are doing successfully is getting this site opened up and vulnerable to attack. They've opened up that dining wall. Reed has already been successful in that endeavor, and now a second opening duel will go in the favor of the attack. Now, top floor control firmly in the hands of Achieve right now. Still Riot upstairs, still TPA upstairs until a moment ago, and that means Traken is in a very uncomfortable spot on the site, because not only is he alone, but his teammates who are trying to rotate back are being watched, and they're being cut down. Riot is taken down as he tries to rotate back to site, so Traken is now forced to be incredible in a 1v5. He'll take down Ashen, that's 1, but he's got to find 4 more. And with 60 seconds to play, there is no reason, no possible way that Surf could throw this one here. Traken now being flashed. Seems that they have some idea of where he's positioned, and Reed will just go to get this bomb on the floor. Traken is being covered as soon as he exposes himself to this window. There's somebody ready to shoot him in the back of the skull. He does seem to be aware of that, though, so he'll be careful about going for the full swing, but it simply doesn't matter. Surf deliver a flawless round, finally recovering from their numerous ailments on Chalet and taking the map 7-5.
Hey, you can see Surf are not happy with that. I think that was Ashen and Spiff saying that they or Reed saying that they suck. And well, Surf do not suck. That's couldn't be farther from the truth. I definitely think that map should have been much more dominant than it really was. Again, 3 of those rounds that Achieve won were because Surf got ahead of themselves. Surf didn't, check angles that they should have. They didn't drone properly towards a lot of times towards the end of those rounds, it didn't look like Surf were droning at all. They were just kind of pushing in and hoping for the best. But eventually, Surf kind of got it together. I think that was the big theme in that last round on their dining attack. They were much more thorough with things, and well, to put it in short, they got their gunny up. They did not lose a single fight in that round. That was flawless. So I guess, if you're going to be on a bit of a losing streak, what better way to win the map and recover than a flawless round with a plant down?
And one extra, bonus point for Surf there, despite the mess of that second half, is that was Achieve's map pick. So they have come out in this first map and they've taken their opponent's map pick right out of their hands. So they are potentially poised and ready to go for Cafe with more than the advantage. They now go into their own territory where they can be a lot more comfortable. But before we take this quick break, if you're wondering what you should do in the next few minutes, why don't you consider powering up with Mike and Ike? You can take your candy game to the next level with a pack of Mike and Ike Original Fruits or Mike and Ike Mega Mix. The delicious, fruity, chewy flavors can help fuel your game, they can help fuel your Twitch viewing experience, and they can power you up to keep playing at your best. Power up with Mike and Ike. And we'll take a few minutes and we'll be back with our second map of the night right after this.
Hello, I go by Ashen and I play for Surf Esports. going to be cool to see how we hold against CL teams, but I definitely think that we can hold our own. It's going to be interesting to see like different types of CL teams and how they play against us, and also our play style and how we'll compete against them. Ambi had to play the first day of the quals in a hotel room, and he was lagging very much. Every single round he was lagging, and that was definitely the biggest flaw we had. But other than that, we went flawless, 12-0, didn't even drop a map. Ambi has made a big impact in the way we play on our team. He's very wild. He's that wild card player, you know, he listens well, and he also learned how to play flank watch in 2 days. So he's definitely made a big impact on our team. If we were to annihilate anyone, it would be Two-Face. First of all, they're our friends, you know, former teammates, stuff like that. And we've always, like, ever since we split up, we've always had kind of a big competition with them. So definitely Two-Faced. Consists of just playing T-Hunt for like 20 minutes, playing Kovacs, blasting music, and, you know, just getting warming up. So that's really it. The most doubted or slept on player on our team is definitely ReadSync. Definitely pops off when he needs to, and he's definitely underrated because everyone just sees everyone else on the team getting kills, but he sits in sight and he's on a drone half the round for me, droning me in, so. To go to the Pro-Am, it would be huge. It's literally all 5 of our dreams, you know, just to play on a LAN environment and also to showcase our talents on a LAN environment. It would just be huge. It's all of our dreams. I definitely have the worst tasted food on my team. I eat chicken and rice literally every single day for dinner. Doesn't change. Free time, I like to play hockey. I like game training, playing Kovacs, stuff like that. I hit the gym a lot, and also I hang out with my friends. I don't really watch much TV or Netflix, but the last show I actually watched was definitely Squid Game.
Players rose from their beds from the east to the west to compete and prove which players were best. Through weeklies and monthlies, the hype did climb, as soon came the grand finals. Locations in due time. The road was a trying one, wrists aching with cramps. In the end, victors rose. We call them Winter Champs.
Make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's gonna come down.
Favor making a third as he looks up. Making a finds the draw 3. Stunning here from.
Well, Surf managed to close things out there, but Harrison, it was far from pretty and far from impressive. Not the Surf that we expected to see, especially on map 1, where, you know, they started out so strong.
Yeah, their first half was really, really good. 5-1 with really their only round loss coming off the back of a rush. And then we go onto their attack, and they lose 3 in a row. All to multi-kills from one player stepping up on Achieve and clutching the round. It was a 3K from Traken, then a 3K from Morocco, then a 4K from Twizzler in the dying moments to stop Surf. And it was really confusing to see because that is not the Surf we're used to. I mean, there were times where they just wouldn't drone. They would just bot walk in with no info. There were times where they would just be completely ignorant of angles that their teammates were previously killed from. It was really, really confusing, but at the end of the day, they were still able to close out. You know, their final round was flawless. And if we want to look at the stats, for a game this close, I mean, still, Surf were doing well for themselves. Not a single player negative.
Yeah, everyone putting up pretty solid numbers. Spiff, especially, of course, top-rated player on Surf, 1.35 rating. Of course, maining that defensive operator of the Jaeger and going with the sledge on attack. We saw him play Castle a couple of times as well on those basement defenses, the half that Surf excelled on, and then when they got to attack, that is where things started to slip away. But on the defensive side, I mean, speaking of, even though Achieve weren't able to close out the map, you see how both Morocco, Twizzler, and Traken were all able to really recover whatever ailments from the first half they had, and they managed to bring things back. Morocco ending up 12-9, Twizzler 10-9, ending up with a positive rating overall. So yes, it wasn't clean from Achieve, but they showed that they have it in them to exploit the plethora of mistakes that Surf were making in those final few moments, and they had a couple of individuals step up in a big way.
I also, I don't know if you noticed, Jonah, Ashen was 7-0 on entry.
Wow. Very
Yeah,
good.
the only entry frags that Achieve were able to get were 2 from TPA. Every other engagement in the opening of the round went over towards Surf. That is a 10-2 record across the map, 7 of them being Ashen without a single entry death. That's pretty incredible. But now we move on to Cafe, Surf's pick. And we've seen Surf play Cafe before. They are a potent Cafe team, to say the least. They actually beat Wichita Wolves on this map 7-3, despite Cafe being one of the Wolves' favorite maps. I mean, we've seen the Wichita Wolves play it so many times in CL, and they have always looked really, really solid on Cafe. I think they played it several times. The only time they lost in stage 3 was like to PB or something. So the fact that Surf were able to take that over them, I think, just speaks to how good they are on this map. I don't think we've seen... Have we seen Achieve on Cafe? They lost it to Inc. They lost it 7-4 to Inc., who were the first team eliminated from SCS.
Yeah, the only map Achieve ended up dropping in that series
was Cafe. So we got Achieve losing Cafe to Inc., which, by the way, was the only map Inc. won in SCS at all, because they were in the first round of eliminations. And Surf, who beat Wichita Wolves on this map.
Yeah, that's kind of what we expect, right? That's how one-sided we expect this one to be. But Harrison, if the last map taught us anything, it's that maybe we shouldn't expect things to be so one-sided. Achieve proved that against all odds, against a 5-1 half where they had very troubling results, that they can bring things back. So I'm going to not even be close to counting them out on this map at all. Surf, we know, especially in the more recent rounds, they have been struggling. And starting on Cafe attack, Achieve electing to go on the defense, as is pretty typical here. Maybe we can see them have similar struggles. Attacking half was, after all, the half where they struggled the most on Chalet, which is a bit counterintuitive considering the map that Chalet has become, but Achieve were able to exploit that. And so as long as Achieve can try to continue that as best they can here on Cafe, I'm not saying they're going to win this map, but I'm saying they could give us a damn good fight, because they sure did that on Chalet. So for Surf, starting things off, honestly, I think the onus is on them to start things off strong. They're going to have to come out and make a statement on the attacking side and remind us that they can win some attacking rounds.
Yeah, now, Cafe is conventionally a harder map to attack than Chalet is. We've seen Surf, be an incredible attacking team on this map, though, and Ashen is back on the Zoe. This is an operator that if you see Ashen on the 180 or on the 150, that is a scary sight. He is one of the best Zoe players in T3, maybe in all of SCS, to the point where it's been banned. It has been target banned against him. It's not very often you see a target ban Zoe against a player. But Asian is already over towards prep. We'll do away with the Banshee as ReedSync opens up a very small hole so they can watch down the hallway. I mean, it's only been 45 seconds. Looks like Surfer gearing up for a direct bakery take.
And Achieve, they seem to be starting to get some idea of what's going on. They're repositioning, not necessarily repositioning any utility right now, but they are starting to, work their way around towards the side of the map that is now actively being pressured. Just a full force over on that big bakery side. Nobody from Surf going upstairs and actually trying to clear top down. And that is going to result in, well, vertical control being a problem a little bit later in the round. The only problem right now for Surf, though, they will lose that opening duel eventually answered, though, as Tracken will be cut down. So going 1-for-1 with the very player who did find that opening duel. But there are still a couple of players for Surf to worry about. Number one is going to be Twizzler, who is staffing a very important angle over here in Train Room, looking down towards Prep, where Spiff is now hoping to make his entry.
Spiff will nade up towards the floor, but Twizzler was not watching that angle. He was worried about the window, so the nade did not even touch him. He also got TPA on Oryx, once again valuing that rotatability and speed. It's definitely not an operator we see a lot on Cafe. He'll finish off the low HP Ambi. Asian takes the fight through the floor and kills the Vigil. But meanwhile, Morocco kills the Sledge, who was manning those, or attempting to man those floor holes once the Vigil was taken out. Asian, though, okay, snaking his way in. Nice shot onto Morocco, but now it's just Reed as he's been traded. He's got to take this fight against the player by the single wall, but TPA ducks and darts around it, wins that last engagement, and the first defense goes the way of Achieve.
Yeah, clean around there from Achieve, but Surf really kind of just walking themselves into their own grave there. They didn't give it, you know, the greatest effort in terms of that top floor clear in terms of what we can normally expect on that site. They did just try to brute force their way in, and they were met with the same force they were trying to apply. Achieve, they were more than happy to just sit back and take those long-angled gunfights. We saw TPA, for example, just positioned by that whiskey bar soft wall by the kitchen double door, just prone as the Oryx, looking towards Small Bakery and getting that kill. We saw couple of players roaming around upstairs. The first one, Tracken, who got that opening pick. Twizzler, who didn't get any kills on the top floor as the Vigil, but was able to be quite a nuisance for the side of the attack and forced Surf to spend a good bit of time clearing him out, forced them to reposition, and eventually got them caught out and in a bit of trouble. So good job there from Achieve, starting things off strong on the defense. But what is more interesting, Harrison, is what they're bringing out in round two, a mining defense rather than a reading defense or even a top floor defense.
Yeah, mining is through and through the offsite on this map. The least popular of all four.
10 seconds remaining.
Let's see. How are Achieve working with this? So, it's a cigar hold. Shields, ADSs, castle barricades. Castle barricades as on the site as well to block both the mining double doors, I believe, is where those were placed. Oh, I forgot. Castle's got 4 now.
Yes, sir.
Doesn't have just 3. So he's got, I think all 3 of them were placed over towards the mining side of things. The entirety of the top floor actually being manned by the defense, all the way back towards Cocktail as well. So they really want to hold on to this top floor, and I mean, that definitely makes sense. Once you lose top floor, you pretty much lose Train. And once you lose Train, you pretty much lose mining. It's kind of a domino effect on this site. So, of course, Achieve want to hold on to the top floor like their lives depend on it. As Ashen is already looking to send shots down towards Cigar. I believe that's Morocco. Yeah, the smoke playing there. And he's going to have to, really, all on his lonesome, stop the tide of Surf from taking his position.
Yeah, dangerous position for a smoke to be, especially because you usually like to hold those smoke grenades for a bit later in the round, but they can also be just as powerful in delaying an early push or delaying that roam clear. For now, all we're going to see is delay as Surf have yet to make it in the building, but now that they've, crossing that minute 45 mark, they are going to start to step things up. Asian is able to collect the kill onto Morocco after that castle barricade on the cigar door was popped and the smoke had been dealt with quicker than I think Achieve and I think we were expecting. Losing your smoke early, not ideal without having expended any of those toxic smokes. Second pick is going to be found. TPA also dealt with, and a nade, or rather a C4 from below, will catch the feet of Spiff, but won't quite be able to finish him off. Now Spiff, as well as Asian, will all be stepping up, hoping to fight Tracken and just track him down, prevent him from rotating back to the site, and it looks like they'll be successful in doing so. No, Spiff will miss. Refrag is found by Reed, however, so it's going to be a 4v2.
Yeah, that was interesting. Morocco, I mean, when an Ash burrows into a surface, it's a pretty loud sound cue. It looked like Morocco was just completely unaware and stood there and took it. TPA is... excuse me, TPA as well, I think died to Ashen on the white rappel. Speaking of Ashen, he's now since been very lit up, kind of trapped over towards Useless, and he will go down thanks to the floor holes being held by Twizzler. Reach goes out on one of the walls onto Mining. Those are looking to get aggressive on that as Asian has since crouch walked his way over towards Red 90. Riot is downstairs though, and Twizzler's the only man on site. Well, I don't know if Asian is completely aware of the Castle's rotate, as it looks like Castle's going over towards White stairs. No, he's actually trying to ascend up Red. The barbed wire though may just give away his position, but there's only 10 seconds left. Surf might only have one chance to get this plant down. Reed's going for it. Here comes Twizzler, but no, Asian's there to put a stop to him, and Ashen has cover on the other side. Surf, despite making a late push, still have adequate coverage and tie up the score 1-1.
A little bit refreshing, I'm not going to lie, to see from Surf a competent and comfortable, maybe even a casual mid-round from them. Often the point where we see them struggle, instead of just sending bodies at the problem and challenging, one player one at a time individually, they took their time and they took a step back, sent a couple of drones out, squared up their web of control around the site, and made sure they knew what they were doing before they pushed in and got the bomb down. Like you said, Harrison, it resulted in a later plant than they probably would have liked or been comfortable with, but they covered their bases, and they knew where those final few defenders were positioned, which enabled them to, at the right moment, go for that double, that triple swing, and prevent those defenders from doing any more damage than they had already done. So great job there from Surf in that 4v2, maintaining the advantage. Not something we often compliment a team on for winning a round. They're supposed to win, but given the issues we've seen Surf have on the last map, I think it's worth pointing it out that they have seemingly, for now at least, corrected some of those mistakes. Achieve, love the decision going to the off-bomb site, maybe catching Surf bit off guard there, certainly catching me off guard there, but unfortunately for Achieve, it's just not going to work out.
Yeah, and we'll see how they go back to a more standard bomb site. They'll go back to Bar, top floor, and they'll do the pseudo kind of almost like mirror window shield, where you open up half the wall into freezer and you play behind a shield in the tucked in that little corner. That can work out both ways. If the attackers clear it fast enough, you do give them a lot of control and a very long sight line through the bomb site, but okay, I don't know what just happened. So Reed killed TPA, who was spawn peeking.
I think you jumped out, yeah.
And then Riot, who was also spawn peeking, killed Asian. And Traken is still sort of spawn peeking.
They want to get aggressive, I guess. They want to take some gunfights. Like you said, when you have Traken in play, you've got some Kona stations to fall back on. So if you take a gunfight and you don't actually get killed, the punishing factor is a little bit less, as we see Riot almost at full HP after being cut down to almost 1 HP a few moments ago. How are those Kona stations actually incredible? He just has been running around the top floor, hitting all the stations, and look at that. Full health yet again to take another gunfight. And considering we're in a 4v4, that amount of healing that Riot is able to get there is going to be huge. Especially when you give him that 416, you allow him to continue to be a factor on this top floor to delay this clear even further on a site that so heavily depends on this piano control. Could be exactly what Achieve are looking for. Morocco gifted his life in this round, not being taken down early like the previous one, will be able to use those toxic smokes more effectively, forcing Ashen to rotate around towards Heaven, and now forcing Surf to really focus on clearing out this bathroom shield. Twizzler still behind it, comfortable, sitting in bathroom, not budging, despite the now building pressure from Surf, still struggling to push out a cigar. Traken is also holding a long angle to try to support his teammate.
Traken will actually move up to the reinforcement in order to chuck a C4. It will not land on anyone, though Ashen does get the kill onto Morocco. That smoke that we were just talking about, who I believe still had a gas canister in pocket, is now taken out. And Traken gets caught sitting on top of one of the bar stands, dropping down. Riot gets the refrag on Ambi, but Ashen is already pushed deep in the site, and he'll get the third kill of the round, I believe, as Surf take round number 3 and take the lead.
Again, Surf maintaining composure when things got a bit dicey in the mid-round. Achieve did a good job of kind of freezing Surf in place, preventing them from taking any further control. Surf had initially been stalled out a little bit by the insane aggression that you highlighted, Harrison, that Achieve were trying to bring out, the triple spawn peak action we saw from both TPA, Tracken, and who was the third? Was it Twizzler as well? Who went for
Riot.
the trio of the peaks?
Because Riot got the kill on the Asian.
Oh, right. Okay, right. I mean, it was a mess, is what it was, really. A lot of aggression on the defensive side, and Surf was able to counter it somewhat. Reed getting that trade on TPA's jump out, and then eventually able to push into the site and take them down. So good job there from Surf to avoid getting punished too much by any sort of insane, surprising plays from Achieve, who appear to be bringing out more surprises left and right as much as they can. I mean, I did say before we even got into the start of this series that Achieve did have to pull out all the stops if they wanted to win that one, and especially on Cafe, now that Surf are looking a little bit more confident, a little bit more composed, I think the story is going to have to be the same for Achieve, who will actually be sending things back downstairs to the kitchen site that they were able to take successfully in that first round.
5 seconds to go.
And Surf, I feel like the first round is maybe just
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
some, just a warm-up round. Seems like since then, most of their hiccups have been accounted for. Now back on Kitchen, where Surf had initially tried a bakery direct, which didn't work out because Achieve were holding the top floor. Surf were kind of forced to thin their manpower. And, Tracken nearly finding someone running past the window. He's unsuccessful on his spawn peak. Chief have been getting very aggressive in the early rounds. Pretty much every single defense so far on Cafe, but now Surf are going to be a lot more thorough. They want to go for this full clear, and it will already work in their favor with Asian getting the opening pick on the Tracken.
Yeah, good start once again, and Tracken has done his job putting down those Kona stations, but you'd really like to keep a big gun and assault rifle on the defensive side in play for a little bit longer, but unfortunately for Achieve, no longer than 60
C4.
seconds. Yeah, C4 as well. That is a lot to lose so early in the round. Achieve, as well, will be really gearing up for quite a heavy roam, as, of course, Tracken already getting punished on that, but TPA and Twizzler still trying to roam and delay this time, but they don't know that Ashen is already up in reading room. TPA is just sitting unaware, and even though Twizzler was also kind of just sitting crouched in a corner, he was able to catch one player off guard if TPA wasn't. So they will find somewhat of a trade, and the threat of Ashen on that Zofia will be removed for round number 4, but Surf still hold the advantage. They've still cleared out the entire map of roamers, forcing Twizzler all the way back downstairs, forcing both Riot and Morocco to position on the site. And now, with that control they've secured, they're just going to begin the vertical pressure that we see oh so often on this kitchen site.
Yeah, I mean, sure, Ashen is 6-2 and is the standout performer so far, but you lose him for 2 bodies and not much of the round wasted. I mean, we saw Spiff going for floor holes with like 1:25 left on the clock. That's plenty of time. Look who's still up, Asian, who's 5-2, 1 kill behind his cohort. But Riot is looking to put a stop to him, but he won't be able to. Asian lands that frag and damage on Twizzler, who is all the way in small bake now, trapped. Asian takes him out. 3 kills for the Ash, leaving it on Morocco. 1 versus 4, I believe, inside a bakery. That or either K1. No, he is inside Big Bake. He'll go small bake and blindside Spiff. There's still 3 more attackers for him to go through, and the plant is going down from Reed. He's getting zapped, but the Evil Eye won't be able to do enough work, won't be able to stop the plant, and now the situation has gone from bad to worse for Morocco. 30 seconds now to kill all 3 of these players and start that defuse. He'll be able to shut down Ashen's reign of terror, so 3 kills is all the Ash will get, but still got to go through Reed and Ambi, and they are playing oh so passive, knowing they can bleed away the time. They aren't even on the bomb site anymore. They're over towards the white hallway, and as Morocco starts to go for it, he's caught off guard by Reed holding the long angle. Surf take round 4 and extend their lead 3-1.
A good attack from Surf yet again. Instead of opting for the full-fledged big bakery, what I called the brute force approach from the first round that didn't work so well, they did go for the full-fledged clear, and clearly it paid off, allowing them to secure enough map control to eventually kind of have their pick of where they wanted to actually go for that execute, eventually pushing that backside through Freezer, getting that bomb down, and establishing a nice angle all the way from that white stairs garage position. So great job there, playing extremely passively, like you said, Harrison, in those last few moments, and there was simply nothing Morocco could do. Almost denied the plant with the Evil Eye and kind of a last-ditch attempt to deny the plant and recover the round, but even if that had gone down, there were still several players to recover that position, but as we saw, somebody from Surf just shot out the Evil Eye as it was busy zapping Reed on the plant. So good job there from Surf to continue the success, not allow Achieve to find another successful kitchen defense, and now they've kind of thrown Achieve into that uncomfortable position of what bomb site do they possibly go to now. They've taken this time out to hopefully discuss that and figure it out.
It looks like they're going to mining. And going back to the offsite, which is weird because it didn't work all that well. They went there hoping to catch Surf off guard. Their top floor roam got kind of demolished. They went 1 for 3. And then their site players couldn't really do anything. So I'm curious as to why they decide mining is the play and not reading. Because, again, mining is the offsite for a reason. You relying more on the surprise factor and more on your opponents not knowing how to take it than you do the strength of the site itself. Although I have seen some pretty damn good strategies on this site. They'll be bringing what appears to be the exact same operator lineup, only TPA is a Rooney rather than the Wamai they had previously run. They also do not have the smoke. Instead, they are running the Goyo on Morocco. Last time we saw the smoke get kind of, I guess, surprised by the person opening the cigar double door. Seems like the positioning, though, is going to be the same. Again, Shield and Cigar, Morocco playing behind it, TPA supporting from Pixel, Tracken playing in Cocktail. Although now, with this Aruni, the Castle Barricade is a little bit safer, I guess. But, not really by much. I guess it does give Morocco like a slightly earlier warning that they're about to open it up.
Right, but how much is that going to help? We saw how last time he just had no idea that the Ash was coming from behind. Maybe that's that additional warning that he needs to maybe move away from that position or simply not even hold it at all. Right now, he's not quite in Cigar, instead holding this new mount position, just sitting with a C4 in hand, just waiting to lob that one up. But it seems that, Spiff is going to be a little bit smarter for Morocco in that case. He will neglect to open that hatch before the C4 actually goes down, so he will be completely untouched, and, well, one of the 2 C4s will go wasted. TPA, though, he'll run out, getting insanely aggressive. It'll pay off for him, but Reed is once again punishing the players who go for the jump outs. Good pick, though. Taking down Spiff, removing those nades, but Spiff himself has been unable to find the scoreboard yet, and so maybe that isn't the pick that Achieve and the impactful pick that Achieve were really hoping it was.
Morocco's also not playing Cigar. He's going to try and get aggressive on stage and then just get shot in the back? Yeah, Asian, I got to echo the same thing. What? You can literally hear the people on that rappel. Like, okay, that didn't make any sense. And now what was a 1-for-1 has become a 2-for-1, though Twizzler gets the refrag. C4 up will blow and be sky high. We're back to a 3-on-3 with Tracken still rotating upstairs, but no. We'll drop back down through laundry and support the boys on site.
Smart decision there, knowing that Surf have continued to mount this top floor clear and have done so successfully. They've cleared out everyone on that top floor and now turn their attention, eventually in a few moments likely, to the site itself. We highlighted the, questioning importance of that pick onto Spiff, but now at this moment in the round where the clear has gone down successfully and there's nobody there to sledge open the floor below, the impact of that pick is going to be felt a little bit stronger by Surf, and Achieve are going to be even more comfortable on the bomb site below, knowing that they don't have to run around and just avoid being taken down from above. Instead, they've got to worry about just pressure from the same floor they're on. I mean, Asian's going to drop down, Ashen's going to drop down, and they're going to open up these angles on the site, and they're going to get ready to push. Tracken, first player in the line of sight here. Hipfire headshot onto Asian. Ashen will respond, though. Good kill onto Tracken, and now to return to a 2v2, but 14 seconds remain. Twizzler, his position is unknown, and he gets one for free. Looks for the second with a shotgun, but he's got support from behind, and he'll actually get that trade himself, bodying his teammate with the shotgun, allowing the angle from afar to just kind of be staffed and, well, be useless. A perfect 1-for-1 trade there by Achieve, and a successful defense on mining, a surprising one given the rough start, but they pulled it off.
Yeah, like you said, a little bit surprising, but the key here was keeping that man count in check. With the 1-for-1 from TPA and Morocco's death being traded by the C4, we had a relatively even 3-on-3 with all three of those remaining defenders on site. Tracken didn't try to get aggressive upstairs and throw his life away for a 1-for-1, which was good. So he's still alive. He gets to hold inside of reading, and actually that kill on the Asian was probably what won the round. Because if he doesn't get that kill on the Asian, of course, then there's another man coming in from that side of the building. Ashen, he just kind of walked in and died. You could tell Surf had no info on the site, so I think that was Twizzler was just kind of tucked in a corner, and Reed not getting the trade fast enough ended up kind of sealing the deal for that round. Yeah, again, he eventually found the kill, but immediately traded out by the by the shotgun. Bar is was also not great for Achieve. Ashen had a pretty good 3K as the Zoe, because he just kind of pushed through Longbar and killed everyone. But, I mean, who knows? If Achieve can work out the kinks on mining, maybe they can do the same thing on Bar.
Yeah, some good adjustments there. I mean, the one thing that was a little bit weird was the top floor hold. I think you already mentioned that, but the fact that we saw the same utility devoted to Cigar as before, the castle barricades, the deployable shield, the Aruni gates, everything, and then nobody actually sitting in Cigar at all, both players dying in stage, in piano instead, was a little bit odd. Achieve was able to recover anyway, of course, and again, that's all you can ask. Just frag their way out of the hole that they had built for themselves, and they might have to do so again unless TPA is a bit careful about his very precarious position. He'll be sitting close in the corner, but now that he feels that he's been sussed out, he will make a quick retreat. But now to yet another precarious position, because Ashen and Asian should be bearing down on his position. He's actually just going to win that fight because Ashen just wasn't ready for the close angle and the pre-fire. So unfortunately for Surf, they will once again have some trouble clearing out this top floor early.
That's a good pick for TPA. That's a lot of utility off the board as well, with the Zoe down. Oh, that was the, I keep forgetting that sound is the new bulletproof cam change. It sounds so weird. As they bleed away the utility from the Wamai, making this shield more and more exposed, TPA will likely have to fall back from Pixel in very short order. More and more flashes coming out. It'll probably be on Asian to get rid of that shield as Spiff is on the roof. But TPA is pushing up, but still loses the fight to Asian. I am very surprised that the Ash won that out, though he did take quite the beating. He is very low HP, and Surf still haven't taken out that shield, curiously enough. So that could be troubling heading into the later round if one of those defenders pushes back up the hallway and retakes.
Well, now we're sitting in a 4v4, but Surf with Asian on 1 HP feels like less than that at this point even. It's going to be tough for them to actually get this push going because now, I mean, well, with Asian confirmed, it's going to be tough, no doubt, in a 4v3. Twizzler, is he going to attempt a little bit of a jump out here? He might. Looking at least setting that one up for a bit later. Nobody invulnerable. I guess now Reed technically invulnerable to that position, but he'll melee open that window, so Twizzler will rotate to another window to jump out. Achieve really utilizing cafe windows to their fullest right now, but Twizzler will think twice, back off, and play a bit safer. They do have the advantage after all. The 4v3, all they've got to do is play the trade game from here on out, and they will win this round with 20 seconds left. Surf have to get a move on, and here comes Reed, top ropes. He'll get one, but Tracken gets the trade. Ambi gets another, but here is Riot to to respond. It's all up to Reed now, bearing 9 in hand, and Riot sitting in freezer will be quick to get the headshot. Good round from Achieve, and with that win, they will recover the half, tremendously so, tying us up at 3.
Yeah, that last round, the adjustment from Achieve seemed to just be aggression. I mean, in the beginning of the round, TPA is playing in piano, fighting the windows, then pushes back up once again to take the fight. I mean, he does die to Asian eventually, but Asian is solo HP that he's very easily traded off. And because of the early kills onto both the Ashe and the Zofia, as well as the burn from Surf not really doing anything to help clear. I mean, they just kind of burn to burn with no follow-up. The shields in bathroom, or the position in bathroom, the shield on Pixel, all that stuff was still up towards the end of the round. So you still left the defenders with a lot of control in their hands. I mean, sure, Surf tried to go for a play, jumping off the skylight and getting that pick. That was a good job by Reed. Ambi getting another one, I believe. But the trade game, again, like you said, that's all Achieve had to play, and they were able to find them every single time. Every time Surf got a kill, it was not unanswered. So we end up at a 3-3 half. Certainly not as dominant as the initial half that Surf had on our previous map, but that was on the attack. Surf's weaker side. We're now on defense. Remember, they took a 5-1 in the previous map on their defense. Now that we're on Cafe, things could potentially be just as dominant.
Right, if Achieve allows Surf to start to build the momentum and run away with this one, then I suspect this one could be over rather quick. But what Achieve have done on their defensive half has been rather impressive. They not only were able to take the 3-3 half, but doing so after a troubling start, making some pretty good adjustments. That's always a good thing. Not a great thing to see one of your teammates shot in the back by one of your other teammates. I believe that was Asian, who was opening up a rotate, ended up taking most of Reed's HP already down. And, well, without any Kona stations, no Thunderbird on the side of Surf. Unlike Achieve, they are not inclined to run that. So Reed will be stuck at pretty low HP for the remainder of this round.
That's unfortunate, especially on a Cade with a TCSG. Not the best gun anymore. You're probably going to be taking some fire back if you're using that. Just by the nature of the weapon, but I mean, who knows? Reed's still a good player. He could find a freebie with the C4. Let's not forget. Ambi, though, is downstairs. Oh, speaking of Reed, well, he gets taken out, so no TCSG this round. I think that was that Tracken? You got that kill?
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm just blanking because all of a sudden, but
Ooh.
yeah,
Yep,
it was.
it was.
Double
All
kill.
right.
There it is. So, good adjustment there from Tracken to take down the player, Ambi, who was playing a bit too aggressive for his own good. Looks like his position was spotted out very early. We saw both Tracken and Twizzler just staring at his position and taking him down as a result, and there goes TPA on another one. That one is going to be Spiff now to fall. Riot takes down Asian, and this miraculous Surf defense that we've spoken so much of has been decimated, has been flawless by the side of Achieve. Almost before Achieve really got in the building, they took all those fights from Windows, and Surf were more than happy to just swing them and gift them kills.
Yeah, that was an odd one from Surf, looking like they wanted to play a similarly aggressive game as Achieve, but all just kind of getting caught. Achieve didn't even really play anything special. They just watched and waited. That's all they had to do. Tracking with an initial double kill, taking off the low HP Reed and finding Ambi downstairs, and from then on, Surf just peeked into him. I mean, Spiff got caught in a rotate, but the other two, they just kind of peeked into him. That was definitely a weird round. Not a round we're used to seeing from Surf like that, playing aggressive and not getting really a single kill for their troubles. I mean, they'll try again, clearly, because however they just played it last round is not how they wanted to.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, they're going to make some adjustments. I mean, I sure hope so. Going back to the same site twice is always a gamble. but I suspect we're going to see a couple of major changes right off the bat. Number one, hopefully Reed will not be on low HP from the beginning of the round. And two, I suspect Ambi will not be playing as aggressively on the red stairs. Always aggressive to play on the red stairs, always risky, because that's where the attack is almost always going to make their entry. And almost 100% of the time, someone is going to be trained on that red stairs push, because it's something you see every day, every scrim, every ranked game you play, every casual game. Somebody is going to be running up those red stairs, hoping to throw a C4, hoping to challenge you on that red hatch as you drop down. Instead, Ambi will move away from that position, and the more aggressive position will now be held by Reed. Also a C4 in hand, he'll lob that one up the skylight, looking to take down Riot, but he will be unscathed, and that is another wasted piece of utility from Surf. And no, it's not a frag, but it is not a good start.
Buck is an interesting pick here, considering they're not going for downstairs. It doesn't look like Cocktail is the play, and Ashen is going to die very early to Morocco.
Wow.
From behind the shield.
He was on Pixel.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how he died there. Maybe just peeked up his head a little bit too early, right into the shots. Reed is also going to get very lit up, but he will get the trade onto Riot. I mean, still, though, he's worse for wear. He's at just 1 HP once again. So 4v4, but HP in the advantage of Achieve as they start to now take in through Cigar.
Yeah, they've got boots on the ground pretty early here. I mean, 90 seconds to go. Not necessarily early, but considering they've already got a frag and don't have to really worry about this Pixel position anymore, that's a good place to be. Bathroom as well has also been cleared out. The deployable shield is still there, but no one on Surf is currently staffing that position. Instead, Spiff, who is currently 0-6, has backed on off to Freezer itself, and he'll find his opening kill, his first kill of the night, or at least of the map, taking down TPA after, leading the leaderboard and getting that top-rated player for map 1. He's had a different start here in map 2, but his team overall are bringing things back on their second defensive round. That's another pick going their way. It's going to force both Twizzler and Morocco to step up in a pretty big way here, and it looks like Morocco will start things off with a good long angle onto Asian. But now, here comes the crossfire. You've got to walk down the hallway with bathroom open, with a player on white stairs, and with someone sitting close in Freezer. That is not a fight that Morocco's going to win on his own. That means Twizzler's going to have to support him, and that he will, stepping all the way up and dealing with Spiff successfully. And all of a sudden, this has swung in the favor of Achieve here. Reed on 1 HP, though, he will be effective, and he'll not only do the damage to one, he'll kill one and take down Twizzler. No way! Twizzler wins that one out. Ambi is sprinting in the white hall. Twizzler being cut down to low HP by Reed. I figured, hey, there's no way that Surf could lose this one, but Ambi, well, he will make me eat my words on that one, I suppose.
Okay. Weird. Again, from Surf, Achieve clutching it up in the later round. I mean, this has been 4 in a row from Achieve with no solid answer from Surf just yet. So, in that round, I don't know how Ashen died behind the Pixel shield. He shouldn't have, but he did. Again, I guess maybe just peeking his head up when he shouldn't have. He dies real early on. That's not great. But there is a trade for ReedSync. Then there's another 1-for-1. And we're at an even 3v3. Who was it that got the long angle kill? The Hibana, I think, of Morocco. Really opening up Cocktail. Ambi was stuck underneath playing for a C4. I'm not quite sure why Surf would go for that when they have very little intel. Instead of just waiting for the execute or the plant. I mean, Twizzler looked like he wanted to chase him down, but ended up not doing that. It was like a 2 versus 3 before the kill on Asian. And then as the Cade goes 1-for-1, we're left with just Ambi versus Twizzler, but Ambi comes back upstairs and rotates towards Pixel? I don't really get it. I don't get the thought process of Surf in that previous round, or at least of Ambi. This whole game has been, or these past few rounds have just all been, kind of questionable decisions from Surf, just like we saw in Chalet.
One thing I will compliment Achieve on is dealing with, actually I'm going to hold off on that because we are seeing an
What?
early push here. It's going to be quickly denied. Reed takes Riot down and Ambi quickly deals with Twizzler. Morocco has an answer for that, but then his head gets taken clean off. Now Ashen will step up, taking down Tracken, and it's going to be all up to TPA, who will get a quick double kill, but then who will quickly get taken down in response. So looks like a little bit of a rush attempt. He's just about to compliment Achieve from a good play in the previous round, but they're going to make me think twice, going for a very bold, brazen rush when slow, methodical attacks have worked wonders for 2 rounds in a row. They throw away the lessons they've learned, and they, well, throw away their lives.
Yeah, that was well, you could see that Surf were definitely ready for it, especially with the Banshees they had in play. That was kind of their early warning sign that people were starting to move in through prep. And I mean, all they needed to do was turn their gun towards them. I think it was 2 kills in a row, 1 from Reed, 1 from Ambi. And although 1 player from Achieve was able to get a trade, Ambi took him out very soon after. And I mean, that was just kind of man count falling apart right at the beginning for Achieve. And at that point, it was pretty irrecoverable. They just went for a rush attempt and it just didn't work out. Not too deep. And I mean, that'll give 1 round back to Surf. The lead that Achieve had, not quite as comfortable. You know, it went from 2 rounds to just 1. And Surf will go on to Reading, a site that we have not seen at all this map. That's definitely weird to say, considering we're in the second half. But Achieve kind of just avoided it for their entire defense. Not quite sure why, but Surf are definitely not shy about it, and they're of course holding upstairs. They brought all the necessary tools. They've got Mute for that intel denial. They've got the Jaeger, the Wamai, and the Aruni, just to make sure that these Goyo shields upstairs stay up there for as long as possible.
Well, they're going to be looking to work this top floor hold, of course, like you said, as long as they can, and naturally Achieve will be looking to just blitz their way in, I assume, and just take control as fast as possible. They've got both the Buck and the Sledge this time, so Twizzler and Riot will be running that combo. And that's a lot of soft destruction that will be very valuable on the top floor, if, that is, they can take the top floor control with ample time remaining. This is something we see a lot of teams struggle with, clearing out all the way towards this east side, clearing out Cocktail, the players in Freezer, the players by Planks and Whitehall. I mean, you can see Asian taking up that position, who currently has 11 kills. He'll be looking to find more, just sitting down that long haul, delaying even more the push from Achieve as they get in the building. But right now, Achieve, they're not hard pushing that top floor just yet. Instead, they're doing a little bit of both. They've got some players upstairs potentially poised and ready to clear out Cocktail, like Tracken, for example, who right now sits alone, joined by maybe Morocco over on the cigar side of things. But they've also got a bit of pressure coming directly into the mining side of the building as well.
Yeah, so Achieve are well, not half and half. I believe a majority of their manpower is dedicated towards that horizontal, as you hear now the Hibana pellets being sent out. But unfortunately for the attack, they are jammed. There's a Mute behind there. They'll be looking to burn and then send a nade up to do away with it. Actually, they're just going to send a nade right through the floor holes. And the Hibana should now be free to go ahead and breach. So now that Achieve have this line of sight and this avenue into the objective, Surf might have to rotate some players back. There's only 3 on the site. 2 are still upstairs. Only 1 attacker is really left there to hold them. TPA already in towards Red 90 will nearly catch Ambi rotating against the Goyo, just kind of running around through the angles, almost gets caught. Shotgun being held close from Resync, will down and finish off Riot though for the opener, but Ambi is immediately traded by the frag grenade. 40 seconds left, in comes Tracken and TPA. They'll get a kill each, TPA with a third, and now it's just Ashen. 1v4 left to retake from the top floor, and he can't do anything. Achieve, bull rush in, right through the breach, right through the hallway, and take round 10.
Looks like Surf were not prepared at all for a dining or a fireplace hall push. They just simply weren't ready. Often it's very hard to attack, and Achieve took up a very challenging approach from the get-go, but the reason it's hard to defend is just because there's not a lot of angles you can get and safely hold on that objective, especially if you're not prepared for it. And I think Achieve, something they've done on several occasions now, both on the attacking and defensive side of things, they've taken advantage of those moments where Surf aren't quite aware that something is happening. They've caught them by surprise, and it seems like they did so again. I mean, that has to be part of the explanation here. I mean, we did see Surf have, two defenders backed by the white stairs with a potential angle onto the players pushing into flyer plays, but despite that, they just got fragged out. Then somebody swung around towards reading, and that was dealt with, but then they neglected to hold just the main hallway. The 90 hall, the red hall, was pressured then firmly by Achieve, and Surf had nobody there. Everyone was either still on the top floor or on a staircase or not quite rotated back down just yet, and they got brutally punished for that. It's now match point for Achieve. 2 match points in a row is what Surf, on their own map, mind you, are going to have to stare down. Not where I don't think anybody expected Surf to be. Certainly not. Even after a troubling performance on Chalet, we thought that they would still have it in them to do something good here on Cafe, but we just haven't seen the Surf that we're accustomed to.
Now, the Surf that can play that structured game is not the Surf that we've been seeing so far in this match. It's, again, a lot of their decisions have been really questionable. There's a lot of unawareness, a lot of lack of intel, and Achieve have been capitalizing on it pretty damn well. Pulling out all the really unexpected plays that Surf, I guess, just aren't, like you said, just aren't ready for time and time again. So, Surf are going to be praying for OT, but TPA, pre-firing through the barricade over the stage, will catch the head of Asian, and that is not the start you want if you're Surf.
No, it's not. TPA now has 12 kills and has even more confidence to swing on into the building. They'll try to deal with this castle barricade over towards Cigar, and it looks like that's going to happen in no time. Ashen now will be forced to step up, and he's not going to be able to save the life of his teammate, who's now been killed by TPA. Yet again, a 13th kill for the Yana. Now the top frag, clear top frag. And, well, Reed and Asian, both the players who are the top frag for Surf, are gone. 3v5. Now that we near that halfway point in the round, but Achieve are more than halfway done to securing this one and guaranteeing their victory here on their opponent's map pick. Unless Surf can pull off something crazy, unless Spiff can heat up again like he was in that first map, there goes Ashen. A triple kill for TPA, and that may be the last hope for Surf on this map. Ambi, though, trying to keep their hopes alive, will get one back onto Riot.
You still got Spiff in Cigar with the castle barricade at his back, though. Ambi starting to come in to his support from Pixel, though he'll get spotted out by Morocco. Spiff will get one kill. Ambi, no whiffs on TPA. He finally lands it. But both of these defenders are so low on HP, and now they know about Spiff's position. This Jaeger isn't going to catch him off guard, but he still lands the headshot onto Kraken. Surf are about to clutch a 2v4. All they have to do is kill Morocco, but once again, all Morocco has to do is land a single bullet on both of these players. Ambi, all the way tucked behind C1, holding the long angle with the Vector, won't spot Morocco just yet. In comes the Hibana. He can't land the shot. Ambi is still tucked in. The C4 can come through, but no, it's Spiff moving in from long bar. Surf somehow keep themselves alive despite the insurmountable odds and the advantage that Achieve had managed in the initial part of that round. Spiff and Ambi still walk away with it.
Harrison, not only a 2v4, that was a 2v5 from two defenders who in the last few seconds were on incredibly low HP. And I said, well, the hope may be over for them. It's all done. And they just say no. They bring it back in a very impressive way in what felt like a mirror image to some of the rounds that we saw on Chalet, where it was Achieve who were the ones taking those advantages and just clawing them back. This time, it was Surf to step up, and when it mattered most. Yes, they have the first map. Yes, they could theoretically lose this map and still win the series, but they would really want to close things out, because if they lose their own map, you head to that decider, you're lacking confidence. They really want to send this to OT. They are one step closer to doing so now. Messy defense to start. A lot of poor decision-making from arguably more than half of the Surf team. But when it came down in that 2v5, they just buckled up. They said, you know what? We've got this. And they were able to bring it back. Achieve presented them maybe a couple 1v1 gunfights, even a couple of 2v1 gunfights, but Surf was still able to win it out nonetheless. Very impressive work. They just need one more.
10 seconds left before insertion.
And we're going on to Kitchen. The only time we have ever seen Surf defend Kitchen was when Achieve tried to rush. This was also, before that 2v5, the only successful sight that Surf have under their belt. So I guess we'll see now how Achieve attack this properly. The thing about a rush like that, too, is they don't necessarily know completely how Surf have themselves set up, both on the site and on the roam. And Surf don't necessarily know exactly how Achieve are going to attack this, though it looks like it's going to be a Bakery direct with all 5 players stacked up outside Bakery and outside Small Bake. We're now seeing a Maverick come into play for the first time in this map. Another kind of weird thing to say with a Thatcher ban. Maverick hasn't been played up until now. That's an extra set of nays that I'm sure Achieve are happy to use. And Asian is going to go for a peek upstairs, breaking the window, but not actually getting aggressive like I thought he was.
Yeah, maybe just trying to apply some pressure, make Achieve worry about these players up top, but nobody seems to be worried at all. Nobody, in fact, has even turned their attention to the second floor, which is going to have to change as long as Surf establish those vertical angles onto Prep and onto that default plant spot, onto the breach. As that run-in happens, you should have somebody covering up above if you're Surf, because nobody from Achieve has pressured that out just yet. And here comes that very breach. Opened wide, successful Maverick trick, and the skeleton key will come in handy right behind. And here comes Ambi, finally opening the holes they need and could prove critical unless Achieve do something about it. Ashton's the one to step up, and he'll actually barricade himself back in towards Christmas after a beautiful run out towards TPA, shutting down the top frag, who has been a nuisance towards this Surf defense so far.
That was an incredible shot as well from Ashen. Great reaction there. Ambi, though, his line of sight doesn't cover all of the breach. He's mainly going to be over towards Prep, I feel like. That's probably where Ambi's going to be watching for the most part. Again, you've still got the 81 on Reed to watch that long breach, but no, Ambi's still going to try and do his best. I mean, he's got eyes over the default plant spot, and as Ashen finds his second kill, OT is looking more and more likely. Spiff, unfortunately, not able to get the kill on a Riot, will only succeed in a lot of damage. Nade going up, won't find Ambi because he's not in the angle. It'll only succeed in damage once more. He's still got this angle looking above. Asian gets a kill of his own. It's now Morocco and Traken. The 2 supports in a 2 versus 5. Can they do what Spiff and Ambi just did in the rounds prior with only 30 seconds to do it? Spiff finds 1. Morocco gets the first trade for his team, but he'll need 4 more. He's got an ace to win this round. He's got 2, but that'll be where it stops. Surf take round 12, and we've got overtime.
Well, Surf have made it happen. Just one round, it looked nearly impossible. It looked like Achieve were about to take that 7-4 win, but with after a 2v5 and then a very impressive bottom floor defense, Surf have sent things to OT. And well, thankfully for them, they will get the defensive side. I guess thankfully for them, and even has gone 3-3 split both times, but these last 2 rounds have gone in Surf's favor, and now they can go back to the very same bomb site they just defended successfully. The biggest part of that last round, I mean, yeah, Surf defended it just fine. They did have an aggressive run out. That was, again, a good shot like you highlighted, Harrison, but they also simply just locked down the site, applied the vertical pressure, and Achieve came in with the same strategy we saw all the way back in round number 1 on the Surf attack, when Surf just decided to bum rush their way into, well, not bum rush, but just force their way into Bakery. The only avenue of attack, didn't bother clearing out that second floor extension, the vertical pressure being applied by the defense, and Achieve fell victim to that very same problem. Allowed the top floor defenders, even though they weren't the ones to get the kills, they were still there, making Achieve turn their heads this way and that. Focus on upstairs, downstairs. They had to look every single way at the same time, and that was something that those last 2 players just couldn't do by themselves.
Yeah, that was very well done by Surf. We're kind of getting shades of the more calculated roster in that round. And we're going back to Kitchen for their first overtime defense. Very well constructed previously. And I'm sure Achieve probably won't be going for that Bakery direct again. 1, considering what happened in the previous round. 2, considering the fact that, well, they've dropped the hard breach. All they've got now is a hard breach charge, and they've picked up Jackal to assist in that roam clear. And really all you need to hard breach if you're going for a full top-down take is the kitchen hat, or is the freezer hatch, and then, you know, kind of a small one on the freezer wall, which doesn't need to be the biggest. And as Tracken starts to rappel up, here's the C4, but it's unfortunately just ever so misplaced from Ashen. It does not land even a lick of damage on the Nomad. So, bit of a wasted C4, but Surf still have 2 in their pockets, so I'm sure they're not too worried about that.
Yeah, you've got one from Ambi, one from Spiff as well, even though you've lost the one from Ashen. Still a good bit of utility to use, but now that you've lost Ashen C4, you've now also just lost Ashen himself.
Oh!
Asian, though, steps up and goes huge. A really nice double kill, taking down Morocco and Twizzler, more than enough to answer back from the loss of his teammate. A 4v3 now, switching into Surf's favor. In this 13th round, Achieve, now they've got a little bit of ground to fight back. Still have TPA in play, and as we've seen in the past, that has often been Achieve's win condition. If TPA is alive, he is finding several kills for his team, and he looks like he's going to have to step up yet again in this 13th round because, yeah, Achieve have a disadvantage, and they've only got 90 seconds to now find 4 players who have all retreated and are now sitting comfortably on this first floor or on the bomb site itself, no longer opting for aggression or that extension up towards that second floor, trying to minimize the opportunities for frags they present towards Achieve.
Yeah, Asian, who was over towards Kochek, does get caught by TPA, though. Must have been a beautiful shot either through the wall or a very slim angle by the double door to catch the rotating player. We've now equalized 3-3. TPA sending up a nade, finds damage onto Ambi. Well done to bring the mute low, but it's no kill, and Spiff and Ambi still have their C4s. Additionally, with the sledge dead, sure, you've lost the sledgehammer and those nades, but you've still got Buck, so vertical play isn't completely off the table. Ambi will get droned out, quickly shoot the drone, but here's the position from the Buck, looking for the mute. He nearly has the angle, but as he fires away, Ambi takes cover, I believe proning behind the bomb chassis, but as TPA gets heavily damaged by Ambi, he still finds the kill anyway. 2 versus 3 now. Achieve have the man advantage. TPA has the crossfire through Kochek as the last 2 attackers go through Freezer, and TPA finds the angle on a Spiff. It's just Reed alone trying to kill the planter, but no, Riot body blocks it just in time. Now it's 1v3 post for the Maestro. TPA still off site. Riot now in bunker. I don't even know where Tracken went, and I doubt Reed does as well. He's still behind the bomb chassis. Vertical angle being established, but Reed finds it, but Riot's there for the trade. He pops up just in the nick of time, and Achieve take the first round of OT.
Great adjustment from Achieve. A mirror image to the first 2 rounds we saw, or the first few rounds we saw on the initial half, where it was Achieve on the defense, Surf eventually adjusting, changing up their attacking approach. This time it was Achieve who did the very same thing on the very same bomb site that went their opponent's way only moments ago. Going with a full bakery attack didn't work for Achieve, so they decide to change things up in a big way, and that they did, applying a lot of pressure upstairs. Yes, they lost out for the most part on that roam clear, losing 2 bodies and only netting 1 kill. But when it came down to actually transitioning to the site, I did warn you that TPA was still alive, often the win condition for Achieve, and then TPA proved incredibly impactful, turning that into a triple kill, just walking down the brown stairs, taking care of the player rotating away back into the site, taking care of another player as he held that crossfire, and just locking down the site, allowing his 2 teammates to rotate around and get the bomb down on the complete opposite side of the objective than they had last time. A very nice attack from Achieve, especially in that 3v4, propelling them once again to their 3rd map point of this map. And, well, I don't know if they're going to squander this opportunity again.
10 seconds left before
Yeah, that would be that's certainly a vibe killer if Achieve ended up losing the last 2 rounds in a row off match point again. That'd be pretty funny for us though. But they'll go on to kitchen. When they defended this site, they went 1-1, so not the worst record in the world. Still kind of a 50-50. Ashen, very cautious about Tracken's position over by Snowbalk. Twizzler, of course, upstairs, as this is a full roam from Achieve. People all the way on the top floor, the middle floor, and of course on site. Surf look like they want to go for the full top-down clear, and that is what gave them success on their one kitchen round, so we'll have to see if the Achieve roamers have anything to say about this.
We've also seen a lot of these opening duels dictate the result of the round on Chalet as well. I mean, it was Surf who were dominating on that first half, and they were dominating in the opening picks. We've seen a similar theme here on Cafe, but a little bit different, right? We've seen TPA, you know, back and forth on whether he's winning those opening duels or not. On the defensive side, it's gone a little bit more towards Surf's way here, but only time will tell how things will strike in this 14th round. Nobody even entering into a skirmish just yet. Finally, it will be Ashen to step up, drone at his feet, trying to identify the position of, I believe that was Twizzler. Yes, who will now be rotating away, but he will make a quick escape, and nobody from Surf is there to punish him. While Surf haven't gotten the kills, they have taken map control, and that is generally the point of a roam clear. And at the end of the day, if you're not be able to find the frags, at least you can secure the map control you need to begin the vertical pressure and apply, well, the pressure to these defenders to force them back. Tracken will finally be forced back as we hit nearly that minute mark. All 10 players still alive here. As I say that, though, the first kill is found. The vertical control, as important as it is, will prove very effective for Surf as Ashen will open things up onto Morocco. No more smoke.
Yeah, that's a big utility pick, especially with 55 seconds left. You want that time delay power, and with only one C4, there's not a lot of plant utility here for Achieve. They've still got the VIP hold, however, as TPA opens a rotate for himself. He gets lit up, I believe, by his backside on that restaurant window. In comes Asian, but the shield is still there, so Asian gets easily cut down. Ambi finds the trade, and Reed does kill the VIP player, and we're now in a 4 versus 2, Achieve on the back foot. Surf could easily just storm into the bomb site as Tracken is offsite in small bake, but he'll very quickly go back through prep as the freezer wall is now open. Twizzler gets a freebie onto Reed. Surf just tries to rush in. Ashen is now also on the floor. We're back to a 2-on-2, and Spiff is upstairs. Ambi's got to do a lot of work now on the site. Twizzler peeks out and shotguns him to the ground. It's just Spiff alone, 1 versus 2 with 5 seconds to do it. He'll find one. All he's got to do is find the next. 2 seconds left, but he can't find it. Twizzler shotguns him as well, and Achieve take it in OT 8-6. We're going to map 3.
Going to map 3, I was not expecting that here on our first series of the night, but it looks like Achieve, they are going to make this one go the distance, taking things very nicely here on Cafe. Weren't able to close it out in regulation, but in OT, TPA steps up, drops 18 kills. And, well, 2 other players hitting double digits as well. Everyone from Achieve contributing to an impressive victory here on Surf's map pick. A map that they have looked incredibly powerful on in the past. A map that they took down Wichita Wolves. A map that they have looked strong on. They wanted to go tonight, and Achieve just say, we don't care. We are going to play aggressive. We are going to play crazy. And they used that play style to their advantage, and they took the map.
Yeah, that was, especially in that last round, too. I mean, that was a 2 versus 4 for Tracken and I think it was Twizzler. And what do we see again? The execute stage really coming in and hurting Surf. No info on where Twizzler was, despite just being tucked in the corner of Freezer. He gets one onto Reed, and there's no refrag. I mean, it's a shotgun, so they're too afraid to go ahead and, well, I mean, he got the kill with the SMG-11, but you kind of assume that he's going to back off and use the shotgun after that point. So everyone from Surf is, too scared to push that in. I mean, we see Ambi later try and make something happen, but Spiff, I think that was also big on Spiff being upstairs holding the vertical. Not being able to kill Tracken, who is still tucked in the corner. Not being able to deny Tracken the rotate back into sight in the first place. So Tracken was able to down Ambi. And Spiff was just kind of too far afield to help his team when they needed it. I mean, he was able to get the kill onto Tracken. And maybe if he pre-fired, he could have found Twizzler, but still kind of hard-pressed to win a fight against a shotgun at that close range on the 90-degree angle. So well played by Tracken and Twizzler, especially Twizzler at the end there. And I definitely have to say, 8-6 on this map was not the result I was expecting heading into it.
Yeah, at least not this way. I mean, Achieve taking the win, surprising us all a little bit there. And heading into map 3, our decider, Oregon, is what that one's going to be. Very different from both Chalet and Cafe. We should likely see a whole nother beast of a map. Excited to see how that one's going to shake out. But if you're looking for something to do in the break, and maybe you've forgotten to do a little bit of holiday shopping, maybe you've been watching too much SCS, too much Super to actually go out and buy your family a gift, why don't you consider taking a look at the Mavix Holiday Sale? They've got Mavix Gaming Chairs, one of our amazing sponsors here at SCS. All Mavix Gaming Chairs are on sale for the holiday season. Yes, maybe the holidays have passed, but you can still get yours with a bunch of discounts, 4, 5, 7, 9% discounts plus free shipping. And on top of all that, you can get $55 off a Mavix gaming chair with your code NSG55 at mavix.com. So go take a look at that. When we come back, we have map 3, our decider in our first playoff match. It's going to be a banger. We'll see you in a moment.
Hey, I'm Dragon, and I play with Achieved Esports. Honestly, I think everyone on my team has been through CO. I think everyone but Riot. So we know what is just to come when we play people like that. Honestly, I think we'll do good because we've all been in CO before and we know what to expect before going into the game. A lot of the CO teams have a lot of experience over us and just play time together as a team, so we just don't have the play time. I feel like that's the only thing. And weaknesses, I feel like we have a lot more gun skill than a lot of other teams. Honestly, Riot and Twiz were, I guess, the new players. We kind of just had me, TPA, and Morocco as the core, and they're goated. They're the GOATs. Definitely TPA. TPA is always trying to get us on, always trying to get us to scrim, dry run. We just have good vibes. We really have good vibes, and we like each other a lot. We're a good team together. I don't think there is a group of death. I think all the groups are pretty well balanced. You got a CO team in each one, and you got pretty sure one team that qualified in each bracket. Brackets are all pretty fair and pretty good.
Welcome to the NerdStreet Winter Championships, featuring SCS6, a yearly open tournament series hosting the best players and teams North America has to offer, culminating in a community favorite, the Pro-Am. So let's discuss format. During the Winter Champs season, SCS6 will consist of 2 stages, where each stage begins with 2 open qualifiers. Once Stage 1 is complete, there will be an additional tournament offering 1 more qualification spot prior to Stage 2. Through participating in SCS6, players will acquire leaderboard points and cash prizing. The winning teams from Stage 1 and 2, as well as the additional tournament, will qualify for the Pro-Am. The top 2 teams from the leaderboard will also qualify. As we approach the end of the season, the final qualification spot will be determined through a last chance qualifier. The Grand Finals of the Winter Champs SCS6 will feature the return of the Pro-Am, where the top amateur teams have an opportunity to define their talent against the North American Pro League. But in the end, only one team will be crowned Winter Champs. Sign up today and make history.
V3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's going to come down.
We're making a third as he looks up. Make it. He finds the drop. 3. Stunning here from.
Welcome back, everyone, and what's been a much closer series than I think pretty much all of us had anticipated is now going to map 3, each team winning their opponent's map pick, and now we find ourselves on Oregon.
Yeah, heading to unknown territory, I feel like, especially because everything we thought we knew coming into this series can pretty much be thrown out the window. We thought that Achieve would come out stronger on their attacking side on Chalet, but we saw an incredibly defensive-sided Chalet, and we also saw Surf fumble the bag a little bit. Same thing goes here for Cafe, right? We just saw, you know, Surf struggle on a map that we know they're comfortable on, but whatever Achieve are throwing at them, Harrison, it's working right now.
Yeah, and I gotta say, not only are Achieve playing pretty damn well, this is not the Surf that we're used to seeing at all. Surf are, right, they're doing a lot of very questionable things. Cafe, where we've seen them be incredibly structured, play the utility game to a T, you know, do their full clears as efficiently as we've ever seen. We haven't seen that Surf. And it's really weird, and Achieve have been capitalizing, whether it's Surf not playing well and Achieve capitalizing off of it perfectly, or something that Achieve is doing that's causing Surf to kind of not play at their best. Either way, like you said, Achieve been playing very well. And now we're on Oregon. We're going to need to see this structured Surf, you know, come back, because, I mean, if we see the Surf that we just did on Cafe, we could be looking at one of the favorites going out early.
Yeah, Surf was one of these teams we thought was going to make quite a deep run in the playoffs, let alone, you know, maybe go all the way. I don't know. One of the teams that has impressed us the most throughout. And while some people were able to impress on Surf in this last map, it was really TPA who stepped up and blew everyone on both teams out of the water. 18 and 11, +1 on the entry, but a 1.41 rating overall. Big difference on the Surf side of things. Spiff, who was the #1 rated player on map 1, is the bottom rated player on map 2. And even though you had some players step up, Reed stepped up in a huge way on that support role, just wasn't enough to take down Achieve.
Nope. And now we're going on to Oregon. So, structured map. Neither of these teams have displayed a lot of that on either Chalet or Cafe. Oregon, depending on the teams playing, we could see a fast-paced Oregon. I know a lot of times when we see Mystic play, right? Mystic love playing a fast-paced Oregon, and I love them for it. But Surf have not played this map. I believe Achieve played it against Inc. Yeah, they won it 7-4. But yeah, we haven't seen Surf on it just yet. First ban, though, is going to be Thatcher. It's Thatcher. I mean, there's not a lot to say about that. Second ban could be varied. Maybe a Flores, because we did see the Flores being banned by Surf on Chalet. Could be a Hard Breacher, if they don't want to leave all 4 of the Hard Breachers up. Usually, if we see any Hard Breacher ban on this map, it's the Hibana or the Maverick. But no, Surf will be sticking with that Flores.
Yeah, so far we've seen the same bans for 2 maps, and we were looking like a third as the Mira is banned. The last one should be the Valkyrie if we're going to stay consistent and identical to the 2 previous maps, and look at that, it will. So nothing crazy on these operator bans. It looks like these teams know exactly what they want to do coming into this map. Little surprised we didn't see a bit of a shakeup, especially from Surf, because the game that they're used to playing, you know, it hasn't been going their way, and so maybe they want to see some changes happen, but I guess they're pretty comfortable with these bans. They don't want to deal with the Mira. They don't want to deal with the Valkyrie on defense. Both extremely annoying operators to deal with, especially those Mira windows. Dealing with those on our basement bomb site, where it looks like Achieve will be kicking things off, can be quite a pain and adds quite a few steps to that attacking checklist that we always talk so much about.
Yeah, I mean, Valkyrie, not only is she just a really good operator in general, but you do not want to give Surf the Valkyrie. I mean, we've seen Ashen single-handedly demolish teams with the Valkyrie, plus with how Surf play. I mean, you know, they're very good with the info, and that's something that they've been lacking in, I feel, for the last 2 maps. There have been plenty of rounds, especially on the attack more so than the defense, where we see Surf very, very obviously stumped by a lack of info. So hopefully for their sake, their issues aren't going to be that same issue isn't going to be plaguing them on Oregon. Oregon cutoffs are a lot easier to establish, I feel, on this map. But Achieve, again, still playing rather aggressively. TPA all the way over towards the dining side of things, just looking for drones. And already, Jonah, we just reached the 15-second mark in the round, and there's only 6 drones left for Surf. How have
Chief.
4 been shot in prep?
I have no idea. I mean, Achieve are doing a really good job of dealing with these drones. There goes another one, only 5 remaining. So, I mean, we've complimented Surf's utility game. We've also criticized it. We've complimented their ability to push in as a team. And we've even complimented their information game. But on this attack, their information game is going to be, well, lacking to kick off the round. They do have the Yana, and Asian will be bringing out that Gemini clone to provide any additional intel that the lack of drones cannot. But, I mean, in terms of intel, thankfully for them, they don't need to drone out any roamers. All 5 defenders are sitting comfortably on the basement site itself. They're not running around forcing drones to be utilized to chase them down and figure out where they're positioned. Instead, they are just biding time, waiting for Surf to step up and take these gunfights. And Surf will be working their way towards that eventually as Spiff gets this meeting hatch open down towards E-Box. Looks like this freezer hatch will be the next destination for him, as Surf right now, they haven't committed to one push or another. They're just opening up all of their bases, making sure that they've got different approaches if they would like, right? You could still approach from the north at this point. You could still approach, you know, from that tower side of things, but you could also work your way in on that freezer and laundry crossfire if you so desire.
There's only 1:10 left now. The Surf start to move into freezer. Asian already making a lot of progress up. He's got 1 man also joining him now. Ashen looking to establish pressure by tower, but there's someone creeping up his staircase. It's the Jaeger, and it's going to be Riot to get the opening pick of this map, taking out that tower player. That's a lot of pressure now gone, but Ambi does get the refrag on Twizzler. That's a C4 dead. That could be pretty big, as that's the only C4 that Chief had available to them. Though Ambi has taken a beating, he will get his second kill onto Tracken. TPA looking to put a stop to this laundry push as Asian goes down in freezer to Morocco, who has aggressively pushed back. We're equilibrium now. 3-3, 25 seconds left, but as I say that, Spiff will put the man advantage in his team's favor. Morocco trades, but Ambi's on for his third. Now Riot, the man who got the opening pick, is left in the 1v2. Diffuser has been dropped, though, in the freezer, and he's going to blindside Ambi. 2 kills now for Riot, but does he know Spiff is coming in from bunker? He just narrowly avoids the shots. He peeks around and wins it. 3 kills for Riot to counter the 3 from Ambi, but it's Achieve to take the round.
Wow. Surf on the attack. It's the little things that just keep going Achieve's way and keep getting Surf into a bit of trouble. That attack, brilliant start, right? They had a good approach on the freezer and that laundry side of things. They were pushing down those main stairs, and every gunfight over in laundry, they were winning. But freezer was the opposite. Morocco was tearing them apart, got a quick and easy double kill, taking 2 players down as they worked their way in. And every gunfight in freezer, contrary to laundry side, went very wrong. Freezer was the big problem for Surf, and it took them so long to finally deal with Morocco. Once they did, it was a 2v1 and another instance of they should win the round. But the freezer problem came back to bite them in the end. That is where the diffuser was dropped, and so those final 2 players had to make a very fast decision. 1, do we run all over this bomb site together and try to locate this final player? Where is Riot? Can we pin him down? Can we take him down and just get the frag? Or they had to make a split-second decision to rotate back into freezer and get the diffuser. Unfortunately for them, they kind of made neither decision. They didn't sprint back into freezer to get the bomb, and they didn't run around and chase Riot either. They kind of sat still and waited for Riot to make the move. The problem with that is they didn't know where Riot was positioned. So when he finally made his position known, he made it known in the form of a clean headshot and a clean kill, turning it quickly into a 1v1 and turning Surf onto the back foot. At that point, They just had to hope that Spiff had the moment to get the kill and that Riot wasn't looking, but a couple of missed shots meant that Riot was more than happy to claim the triple kill and win things out. Another good defense from Achieve. There it is.
Another lack of info kind of situation for Surf. Now, luckily, you know, they've only lost one drone in the first 30 seconds, not like the previous round where we saw almost half of them dispatched of. Although they did have a Twitch, so they did have 2 extra, I guess. So they had 8 drones. Yes, that's not bad. Riot is extended all the way into Armory. Surf are attempting to clear below through Garage so they can have send a nade with Riot's name on it at his feet. I'll probably come at the hands of Asian, who's now going to start droning up the main stairs, deciding or finding out which corner Riot's positioned in. As he shoots the drone, he will dart back to where the reinforced hatch is, meaning he cannot be blown up from below. He will be slightly damaged, but again, this hatch is reinforced, so there's not much Asian can do about it, though the hatch will be breached. That'll force Riot off of it, back onto the soft floor. He's in a bit of an off spot, though. He's not in a corner. Asian probably doesn't know exactly where he is, so if he sends the next nade up, it will probably be off, although, never mind. Riot is just going to simply walk in front of the window and die to Spiff.
Great waste of time, though. I mean, that is now only 1:20 left on the clock for Surf to do the majority of their checklist on this site, but getting these kills is going to continue to speed that along. Great nade from Spiff. Good follow-up from Ashen, who will eventually be downed outside the big window and likely finished off in just a moment. But with 2 players left from Achieve and a 2v4 essentially now, they have got to be very careful with their positions, and as a result, they are not going to waste the time to go all the way around to get that player back up. Looks like it's going to be Reed and Ambi, though, to finish things out. Doesn't matter if that last kill was finished off. It is going to be a flawless round for Surf. That's a great way to recover from whatever mishaps got them down in the first one.
All right. Well done to Surf. Starting off with that Armory clear, kind of forcing Riot to duck and dart around through Armory before he's getting caught by the window. And from there, it was pretty much textbook from Surf. I mean, you had Ashen on the big window. You had Ambi coming up white stairs. Ashen was able to get his frag before being downed. Everyone pushing from Trophy, I believe, was able to find one pick. And I mean, in the 2v4 like that, there's really no way Achieve are going to come back unless they pull out something miraculous. But with that one player coming in from Z being spotted, I mean, that pretty much shut down any chance of that happening. Even if the player in sight had gotten maybe a pick or 2, Ambi would have turned right around and probably gotten the trade at the very least, or, you know, one of the other players pushing from Trophy/games. That was a really good Dorms attack. Now Achieve are going to do what they've been doing this entire match so far, and that's play the offsites. They will go on to Dining, and we've actually got a full small tower hold with shields, Aruni gates, ADSs, and the like. The first time we saw this, I remember, I think it was Supernova did this in CL. It was a frozen strat, I believe, and several other teams have adopted it since, and it seems like Achieve are the next to do so.
Well, one of these plays, these extensions, and especially the small tower extension, it is, I'd say incredibly risky is a light way of putting it. It's powerful. As we've seen in the past, it can work really well. You combine the Frost with the power of those Vulcan shields from the Goyo, and you have a Nitro Cell as well in pocket for Traken, and you've got this nice little web, this tiny little corner of safety that Traken can sit behind without any support from a teammate. There's no real position for any teammate to actually support him, so it is a do-or-die position for the one player you put there. They've got to hope they can get a kill or maybe at least waste a minute, maybe even a minute 30 if we're being generous, because all of that time is time that the attack cannot spend clearing out kids, clearing out dorms, and just getting kills that you definitely need when you're going to execute on this site. But if we are going to see a full small tower take from Surf, we're likely to see this mounting pressure on this top part of small tower in just a moment. In fact, it is TPA who opens things up, a kill onto Spiff, who has started things out a little bit better this map compared to Cafe, but will no longer make an impact in round 3.
Is it just me, or did Spiff just kind of sprint into green?
That may have happened.
I can't quite tell where Spiff died, but Asian is going to get ankled through the drone hole. That's unfortunate. That's kind of just unawareness, I guess, of the not only the map but the positioning of Twizzler. Sad for Asian, but I'm sure it's a welcome kill for Twizzler as he now battles against Ambi on the F2 and wins it out. Beautiful shot from Twizzler. No refrag found from any of the attackers just yet. It's Reed and Ashen in a 2 versus 5. Ashen trying to make a play upstairs, unsuccessful against TPA, leaving Reed all on his lonesome in a 1 versus 5. Be able to find one. Now bearing 9 out, he'll have to search for others, but he can't even find the Frost in the corner, let alone Riot holding his security. Achieve take round 3 and are once again successful on the offsite.
All right, so we saw one very close round, and then just back-to-back in round 2 and 3, we've seen 2 incredibly dominant rounds, but by different teams. First, it was Surf with a flawless, and then Achieve with a nearly flawless round. Absolutely dismantling Surf on that attack, who really just never even got started, it felt like. I mean, the opening pick from TPA, that is, of course, going to really chalk the mental, but then you're furthering that by a drone hole kill. Good lord. I mean, then you're in a 3v5 and you have a lot of ground to make up. And, yeah, Surf really didn't get close to building that back at all. It was all up to Reed, who found himself trapped in the middle of kitchen, who was able to find 1 kill, but then found himself in a brutal crossfire, and there was nothing he could do. So that's 2 rounds for Achieve on this defense, but more than that, it also gives them the privilege to go back to basement, a site that they were able to successfully defend before. Sitting comfortable right now with this 2-1 lead. It is Oregon after all. It is generally a defensive-sided map, so technically, Surf really only need to get 1 more round to consider their attacking half at least moderately successful. But knowing this team, we know they want to be more successful on the attacking side. We know they want to start things off strong, but Achieve are making it as hard as possible for them to do so. And, well, unless Surf change something up in how they approach this basement site, maybe they avoid Freezer entirely, this could be the similar outcome.
I think TPA just used an impact on a drone, and we're down to 7 already. Although I guess you have the 2 Twitch drones, so technically you got 9, but still, those Twitch drones are going to be used more for utility than they are for info. And speaking of info, not quite sure if Surf have that on Riot, who's positioned top tower, though he will very quickly fall back down the stairs to rejoin his teammates on the site. Achieve playing very bunker heavy, makes sense. This is Oregon Laundry after all, and they're not too keen on roaming against Surf. All of the hatches are electro-clawed thanks to Twizzler, but luckily for Surf, they do have the Maverick in place. They can go ahead and just open those up pretty easily. Twizzler's playing aggressively on the laundry stairs, though, but once he gets the drone, he will immediately fall back, leaving Surf with just 6.
Yeah, the drone game as well is something that we talked about Surf having some issues with, especially on this map, but 6 isn't bad with, just a minute burned in the round. But one early concern is that it does look like Surf are going to a very similar attack from last time. Not only does this mean that Achieve should have a very good idea of where this push is coming from, but they should have a similarly easy time in shutting down this Freezer-sided push unless Surf makes some pretty substantial adjustments. Now, no opening pick has been found. Riot hasn't been able to step up and get a kill just yet. But as Surf begin to encroach on this site and begin to open up further avenues to approach this objective, well, those kills are likely to follow in kind. Looks like Reed will open things up, though. Twizzler getting a bit too aggressive on that laundry hatch for his own good. He'll fall.
That was odd, seeing him just kind of staring at the sky and then getting collapsed. That's 5 versus 4. A minute remaining for Surf to make this push happen as more Wamidis are being sent out by TPA, hugging the bomb chassis spot next to A. But Ashen gets another 2-man now for Surf in the advantage. Fortunately for TPA, cannot land the headshot there onto Asian playing behind the metal box. It seems like Surf are looking to just slowly constrict the site. They've got men in Freezer, men in Laundry, and Ashen coming in looking like he wants to drop E-Box hatch and push in from the backside. Right now, the players from Surf are stalled out. 30 seconds have been bled, and as TPA, though, gets burned out by the nade, Asian will capitalize. 5 versus 2. Spiff gets traded by Morocco. He's looking for more with the shotgun, but Asian makes sure he can't get anything rolling, and Reed shuts down the last player. And Surf take their second round. Like you said, they make sure that their attacking half is at least moderately successful.
One adjustment there, Harrison, that I really liked was, again, on that freezer side of things. It wasn't that the freezer attack did or didn't happen, because Surf, despite the problems with it last time, they wanted to go through those steps again, but they made some changes in two different ways. One, I guess it's a similar way. It all kind of combines. The first way is that they simply waited a lot longer to actually get themselves in freezer proper. They, instead of getting in there first to get then supported by the players pushing down the main stairs, they made sure the main stairs players were in position ahead of time. That then allowed those main stairs players to get that angle into freezer through the soft wall to prevent someone like Morocco from going for the wide swing and swinging out and just decimating those freezer players yet again. That momentary delay, I'm talking a maybe 20-second delay on that push down into freezer, was enough to give those freezer players a chance at life, to give them a chance to frag out, and we saw how Asian got a double kill doing exactly that. Really good adjustment, and learning perfectly from the previous round and the problems with just one player swinging out and just being an incredible pain in their side. Really good adjustment there, and even though Achieve tried to apply a similar defensive force in a similar setup, Surf did not let that happen.
Now we're back on dorms, a site where Surf were very successful. Remember, that was a flawless round from them. Achieve, though, with more presence downstairs, are looking to maybe roam Surf out of this round. Morocco prone in split. He's watching the white truck hop up. There's no one in armory for Surf to hunt. Achieve are playing this oh so differently. You'll see Tracken and Kitchen, though. Ashen's drone not being shot. And hell, Surf, if they are, cognizant of the lack of manpower on site, might just go for an aggressive play to take these anchors out, but it seems like they do want to go for their more standard attack, go for the clear, open up towards Master. There's no shield for them to play, or for the defense to play behind in Trophy, so Master control is pretty much free, but they do have to worry about that C4 from below that Morocco has.
Well, TPA will spot out the Twitch drone now. He suspects there's pressure coming from the shower corridor, and he'd be right. There's one player sneaking up the long hall, trying to take him down and deal with this pressure that is currently being applied from the defense down below. TPA will actually make a quick escape, dropping down towards the basement, giving, Ambi more control, giving Ashen and Asian now more control of this entire first floor. However, TPA still very much a factor. So is Riot, who will swing out with a shotgun and win it out. Ashen responds, but TPA is there to trade it when right back onto Ambi. So Achieve will definitely win out into that skirmish because you've taken down the Maverick. You now lose your ability on any further Twitch drones from Ambi, and you've only taken down a Thunderbird in response. Yes, that's a C4, and because Riot doesn't have a C4, there are no more C4s in the mix here for this defense, but they still hold this advantage. And with just that minute mark approaching here, and with, Surf seemingly in a bit of trouble here, it could go badly quickly, but Asian and Reed just completely changed things around.
Yeah, Asian getting his kill, I'm not quite sure how, but I guarantee Reed probably pre-fired Riot, knowing that he was going to be tucked in that corner watching the breach. But as one player on Surf gets cut down, that leaves Asian and Ashen, the AA duo, in the 2 versus 2. TPA tucked in towards dorms, but Ashen no longer looking to jump through the big window. He'll go downstairs, bottom white, but he will get lit up. Twizzler nearly gets caught by Asian as well. Everyone in this lobby tagged except for TPA. Ashen nearly landing a nice headshot, but he'll miss the shots. Asian pushing aggressively in, cannot catch the player, but Ashen does get the trade, and Twizzler is so low. One bullet from this LMG will do him in. Surf poised to win this round, but there's only 20 seconds they have left to do it. Ashen needs to get aggressive. He'll just narrowly spot Twizzler, but Twizzler goes prone! What? Well, all right. I kind of expected Ashen to win that fight, but not quite exactly in that fashion, but either way, Surf win it out, and they take the lead 3-2.
Yeah, going prone in a situation like that, I mean, it's always a little bit of a surprise, right? The angle, you're looking either at head height or at maybe hip height, and then you have to shift to floor height. But the one thing that maybe he forgot is the incredibly loud sound cue of somebody shifting to lie down. If that engagement was taken, a little bit further away down a long hall or something, the prone angle may have worked, but they were, what, 2 feet away from each other, and you can hear that clear as day that somebody is just crawling around on the floor. So he was very ready to just, Ashton was just like, okay, I'll look down this time. And he was able to take that gunfight and win it. So good job there from Ashton to make sure to close that one out. Doing that, taking the last 2 rounds in a row here for Surf has now propelled them into the lead. We mentioned the word moderately successful attacking half before. I now consider this one a very successful attacking half, taking the 3 rounds that defenses really do not want to allow you to get on the attacking side. Hell, they could even take a 4th as they head back to this basement attack. Just 1 round to go, they were able to succeed here, so what's stopping them from doing it again?
Yeah, their Surf's laundry adjustment certainly seemed potent. And they'll be we're going to try that again. Achieve, not looking like they're going to be roaming. Seems like they're going for pretty much the exact same defense. Kind of curious that they haven't adjusted their laundry defense in 3 attempts. But whatever. I guess they just want to stick to their guns and what they know. So, more power to them. Although, where's TPA? Where the hell is he? He's just... Oh! He's lighting up Asian is what he's doing. Asian is down to below half, about 25 HP. Very early in the round, and TPA is going to get out scot-free.
Yeah, impressive he was able to escape. Shower's Quarter like that is a very aggressive position, and there is a window cutting off that rotate, but nobody from Surf had the foresight to open up that window and prevent TPA from rotating back to the site. And so, yeah, TPA at now overhealed because of those Kona stations will be comfortably back with his teammates, while Asian is now uncomfortably low on HP and will have to just hope that the rest of his team can support him in these further gunfights. Maybe he can make his impact felt with those frag grenades, or at least obtaining some intel with that Gemini clone, as we've seen Asian using plenty of times already. One big difference here for Surf is they still have 8 drones in play compared to the low numbers of even like 5 or even 4 at this point in the round they've had in the past. So their intel game flourishing relatively, at least. And with that, they should have a better idea of how they want to approach this site, or at the very least, of when they do approach this site. From the way we've seen them approach it now 2 different rounds in a row, they'll know where these defenders are positioned. And it does seem like we are seeing a very similar pattern emerging from this attack. You've got 1 player pressuring these tower stairs, while the rest of the team is focused on applying some pressure in freezer and some over down main stairs. But here's one big difference. Ambi is over by blue right now, pressuring from construction on this bunker side.
So I guess Surf figuring they don't need the 2-man stack up in freezer, which is definitely interesting because, I mean, that was a big part of why they were able to take the previous attempt of this site. And now Ambi's got to deal with someone perhaps in E-box holding him, or someone holding the long crossfire from pillar, perhaps someone holding the barrel doorway, perhaps someone in elbow. There's a lot of angles that Ambi could be susceptible to, as Ashen attempts to push down and check Harry Potter, nearly gets caught by someone swinging that very barrel doorway that Ambi's going to have to worry about. There's only 30 seconds left now for Surf, and Riot hasn't been flushed out. TPA is still in Harry Potter. Surf do not have a lot of control at all, and as Spiff drops in, he's easily killed by Riot. Track and covers from elbow. Morocco gets another on read before he trades out, and it is just completely dismantled. Surf try to adjust their attacking strategy, and I really can't say why.
I mean, they probably thought, like a reasonable team would in that situation, okay, we've done the same attacking strategy twice, and we've seen Achieve do the same defensive strategy twice on the basement bomb site. Therefore, they're going to change up their defense to adjust to our attack, so we should adjust our attack. Little did they know Achieve were going to run the exact same setup again, and so the adjustments that Surf made, it just felt futile at a certain point. They were digging themselves deeper into a hole that wasn't even there to begin with. They were fine going with that freezer and laundry approach. Maybe Achieve were paying more attention to it this time than last, but once Achieve realized that there wasn't a lot of pressure in freezer and down main stairs, that they could freely move around the backside to deny a push from bunker. And then 2 players, even towards the last closing seconds of that round, there were 2 players holding a 180-degree crossfire in bunker, denying Ambi from pushing in, denying the E-box drop at the same time. and the rest of the defenders could simply cover the bases that they'd been covering from the get-go. Adjustments that really didn't work for Surf. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much. They did still secure a pretty successful 3-3 Oregon attacking half, but that's a round they probably want back.
5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that was...
Attackers
I mean, it's a 3-3, you know? That's not terrible. That's still a good half for Surf on their Oregon attack. We'll see how they defend. We're on Laundry first and foremost. And one big difference is that Achieve are bringing a dedicated flank watch operator tracking on Nomad rather than we saw Surf running the kind of triple entry sort of with the Iana, the Zoe, and the Twitch. And Riot's running Finka. So an extra set of nades, extra HP, extra confidence for this attack. Asian challenging trophy. He'll grab a drone before falling back towards kids. Achieve really wanting to go for this clear. They've got to go through not only a lot of men, but a lot of utility as well. There's mute jammers up here to stop any kind of drone work. Asian is still lurking around. You see there's a mute jammer at his trophy door to stop anyone droning in through that way. TPA already taking a little bit of damage before he's healed up by the Finka, so he can kind of shrug that off. But as Asian takes some damage upstairs, he'll have to play passively, and TPA is allowed to walk up white for this pinch, but Asian has since dropped back.
Yeah, Spiff no longer supporting the top floor. That means Asian knows his life would be forfeit if he holds that too long. He'll drop away, but not after getting a beautiful C4 kill. Beautiful play. Taking down Riot and removing the Finka so early in the round is just a very good place to be, but then Ashen with a shotgun in hand will hope to take down Morocco and unfortunately will not be able to get the fatal blow before falling himself. Morocco, though, will be cut down to 1 HP, and with Reed still up on the board with 3 toxic smokes in the Habana, likely the one to attempt the plant, there is no way that Morocco can do that job anymore as long as Reed is still on the board and throwing those smoke canisters in the right direction. Good kill from Asian, though. Returning to the site proved very important for him, claiming 2 kills on the round and making Achieve struggle even more.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Ooh, Asian is going to get caught by Twizzler. Nice angle there. 3 versus 3 now. Reed still with 2 gas canisters, though. 40 seconds left. He'll continue gassing off the Laundry double door. There's really not a lot of headway for Achieve to make so far. Reed will give up his position in the closet as he sends his last out, though. And as the Maverick pushes through, he's got no idea Spiff is there. Morocco also very low on HP. Traken does win his fight, 2 versus 2. And now things have slowed down for Achieve. 15 seconds left. They're fishing for a pick, but no one from Surf is exposing themselves. Morocco rushing in. He gets cut down. Traken is very low. He does win against Ambi, surprisingly. Reed's got the shotgun on lock. This should be an easy finisher. Down goes Traken. Surf take round number 7.
Nice one there overall on that defense. I mean, starting off with a lot of good plays from Asian, opening C4, and then falling back and then getting a kill, just sitting comfortably by the laundry machines there in the corner, looking towards Freezer and tearing apart that attack. Achieve, I mean, they encountered a very different defense than Achieve ever put forward on their half. I mean, what we saw from Achieve when they went to the basement, all 3 times it was, all times we saw a full-fledged bunker defense. Every once in a while, and maybe we saw one defender from Achieve kind of creep up the stairs and play some sort of roam, but this was completely the opposite. It was a full-fledged roam from Surf, somebody on the top floor, 2 players initially on the top floor, a substantial extension on that first floor, all to just deny as much map control as possible, as long as possible, as Achieve were trying to storm in the building. That time waste not only wasted time, but netted a couple of kills for the defense, allowed them to rotate back safely because they had really good coverage from their teammates and a really good coordination. And from there, Achieve were fighting from a disadvantage the entire way home. Just couldn't quite seize the control of that basement site that they needed in time because they'd wasted so much of that time and so much of that utility and manpower clearing out the rest of the map until that point.
Yeah, Chief, I mean, that was that was kind of just the name of that round. Was Riot died, and it seemed like everything slowed down for Achieve. Now we head on to dorms. Surf with a very similar lineup, only Asian is now on Maestro, and Ambi is on a Rooney. Ashen is in T3 of Tower. Interesting. Doesn't look like he's got any jammers up there. It's just him. Just sitting up there, chilling. Whether or not Achieve challenge this, though, is another story. He could perhaps find an early pick on anyone running over towards Satellite or Highway, or even attempting to pressure Big Window. But everyone from Achieve is, for the most part, already in the building, going for the standard Master Trophy clear.
Well, they're already, working their way up and doing it pretty quick. I mean, Morocco's already got all of those X-Kairos pellets on the wall, and I mean almost all of them, actually running out of every single pellet in his inventory. The Mute Jammer, though, is still on the wall, and that is something that will now finally be dealt with. A good nade from Riot, so that will enable Morocco to get those going and establish not only a couple of angles towards the site, but a couple of rotations as well to potentially get this bomb down early. And, I mean, theoretically, Achieve could strike at any time. The bomb site is somewhat understaffed as long as Ashen sits away in Big Tower. I suspect he'll rotate back soon, though, because Asian and the rest of this team, including Reed on the site, should have a pretty clear idea this push is coming soon. The Evil Eye has been taken care of, and so at any point, this push could come through, and that's why Reed is going to be using these toxic smokes to delay as much time as he can.
Ooh, the nade gets caught by the ADS. Morocco dry peeking in through Trophy, takes a little bit of damage before he's slightly healed up again by that Finka boost. Twizzler is holding couple slits on the barricade. Perhaps maybe his position isn't known. He could be, in for a very sneaky kill. Evil Eye gets taken out, so Asian's going to be forced to hop on the 81 and just start swinging the breach. Pre-fires over, establishing pressure, but does not force the Iana off just yet. Only succeeds in slightly damaging TPA before the damage is responded by a Finka boost, but in comes the push. Read onto Riot. Ashen gets traded out, but Traken has hit the floor, and it's a one-man advantage now for the defense. Riot's been taken out, so no more of those heals. Traken will have to get picked up manually. That's a lot of time wasted. There's only 30 seconds left now. As we've equalized, Traken now recovered. Asian taken out by TPA. Wonderful shot from the Iana, but he'll be cut down as he attempts to move in through the site. Plant, no, not going to be countered, but Reed finds the cover. What a beautiful flick from the SMG-11. Twizzler's off the board too. Morocco, the initial planter, now in a 1 versus 2, but Ambi cuts him down, and Surf take round number 8 largely thanks to the efforts of Reed.
Yeah, Reed's play coming out of Attic was impressive, to say the least. The SMG-11, 2 back-to-back, just beautiful kills, especially the one smoking them on that trophy door. He saw the planter in front of him, but he's like, wait a minute, the coverage is there. Quickly ADS'd, and a beautiful flick to take down the coverage. Unfortunately, couldn't quite deal with the planter because Morocco, popped right off the plant and quickly whipped out that AR and took him down immediately. But that was definitely a good part of why Surf were able to win that round. Reed just denying it outright. If the smoke canisters couldn't do it, he decided to step up and do it himself. 2 successful defensive rounds in a row from Surf. Looking better and better, it seems, as they start to tidy things up. That was 2 primary bomb sites, though, so they will have to eventually mix things up. But Achieve, before that, will be taking their time out after a moderate defensive half. They see that they have their eye on the prize. They know this is winnable. They've done it before. They just have to figure out a way to work out the kinks on this attacking side and close out this map.
Yeah, Surf they only need 2 rounds. That's not a whole lot for Achieve to work with. They're going to start bringing the Thermite over the Hibana, interestingly enough, to attack onto Kitchen Dining, which probably means, Jonah, if I had to guess, they're probably going to be going for a small tower push. That's typically where you see the Thermite being played, right? You can either breach open up the top of the wall and establish the long line of sight, through from the small tower stairs into Kitchen, so you can plant safely in the tucked corner, or you just straight up open the wall so you can plant behind couch. But if you want to plant behind the couch there, you need to take top floor. It is imperative that those defenders cannot play on the hatch because, well, there's a very slim angle you can get on that plant spot, and you just can't plant there if someone's on that hatch. You are a dead man. You would be a fool to even try. So I'm going to assume that's where Achiever are coming from. I mean, they could be going completely somewhere else. They could have thought this was a meeting defense and be taking Thermite for stage wall. Who knows? I'm just kind of going with my gut here. But Surf, just like Achiever, are defending full forward in the small tower with, again, Rooney Gates, ADSs, Goyo shields, even a shield on the table watching into small. And yeah, I think I was right with my second guess. Achiever planning the Thermite for maybe a stage wall push or maybe to open up the meeting wall so they can plant metal.
Well, if we can take a look at the small tower side of things just one more time, Asian actually took away that deployable shield, actually abandoning that hold entirely, instead relocating that shield to dining proper upstairs. There are still ADSs, and this is what's concerning. 3 wasted ADSs, because it seems that Surf no longer want to hold that position. They don't have a Frost, and that could have been part of the reasoning. You don't have that inherent protection the Bear Trap provides on those windows to assist that solo play. But because of that, that's a lot of wasted utility. That's 3 whole ADSs you do not have on the bomb site, and a place that Achieve are challenging very, very early. They've got that wall open in kitchen already, likely a utility dump coming in, and with only a couple of Wamai magnets to deny that push, and with 6 nades on the board, this could get problematic for Surf very quickly.
Spiff narrowly avoids the line of sight, I believe, from TPA, moving in, pinching with Twizzler. So Jaeger's able to get away. You can see Asian coming off his roost in small tower as well, in through Z before he's droned out and falls back towards shower. The wall was open pretty early on. Like I said, they were looking to Thermite open behind Metal Box, but Reed, the star player so far, 11 and 5, will be dropped on the floor, but Ashen, as Ambi punches out the hatch, gets the kill on Riot, ensuring that if Reed dies, which he will to the nade from TPA, it's not unanswered. And Asian, what a shot on a TPA. That's his second kill right after finding Tracken, and he's even able to get away. Well played, and Spiff with the kill on Morocco leaves Twizzler in a 1 versus 4. Jonah, I think it's safe to say that the structured Surf that we were desperately looking for on Cafe has returned.
Well, I don't know about structured, but certainly aggressive in those last few moments, taking a lot of gunfights. That structure maybe enabling them to play more aggressively, really good intel work, and really good just positioning on the map to enable them to play aggressive when they need to. And I guess they decided it was their time to step up. They saw how the aggression from Achieve was kind of doing them in, and on that round, the defensive Surf just said, you know what? We've got that opening pick. Wait a second, we've got another entry pick. Let's just keep swinging, and it worked. Asian got 2 beautiful kills over on Freezer Stairs. Then every single player seemed to just step up, hunt for a frag, and they got him right like that. I mean, 3 rounds now is what separates Surf and Achieve, and it seems like the confidence of Surf is at an all-time high, even after Achieve took that 60-second timeout to regroup, talk things over. I don't think that was enough. Even a more troubling loss than the previous rounds, and now they've got to do it all again after a flawless three in a row for Surf, a flawless site rotation. Achieve now have to figure out how to deny that flawless site rotation, but not only that, get a flawless rotation of their own just to send things to overtime.
Yeah, this is gonna be tough for Surf. Now, granted, their laundry attack was the closest attack they've had so far. It went down to a 1v1. Reed Sync versus Track, and that Reed Sync was able to win just because the time was so low and he was holding a very, very close angle with a shotgun that was pretty much impossible to win against. Achieve did look decent in this round. It was their best looking round so far. They can just kind of elevate their play. Perhaps they can take it. Started out with a roam. Surf not really exuding as much map presence. Ashen kind of tucked away, hidden. Asian, I imagine, is just kind of soft covering his rotate. Ashen is looking for an early pick. He's probably waiting for the vault onto the white van so he can take out that player early. We've seen, oh shoot, who was it in CL that kept doing that as Jaeger? Do you remember?
I do not.
I remember there was this one Jaeger player who would always wait at that barricade and like shoot out one slit who would always like shoot out one slit as Jaeger and then get the kill. I can't remember who it was.
It's all right. I think
Silent. I remember.
Silent. There you go. Doesn't seem like Ashen will be doing that exact move, but he is still going to be playing insanely aggressive, just tucking himself on what we like to call a rat roam, just sitting there in the corner in closet, hoping that nobody drones him out, and then maybe he can go for some sort of miracle flank a bit later. But that flank may have to come in maybe a little bit quicker than he would like, because it seems that Achieve have built up a good bit of pressure on this site already. You've already got TPA, it looked like at least a moment ago, droning out the bottom of those main stairs, but actually he's going to get his head taken clean off by that very player. There goes Ashen. He'll rotate his way around and prove that a rat roam implemented at the right time can be as potent as any roam, as any extension, and now Ashen is living rent-free in Achieve's heads, because they either know they have to hunt him down and do it quickly, or just leave him there and push the site, both of which are dangerous and problematic endeavors.
And losing TPA, I mean, he was the next coming of Christ on map number 2, but he hasn't been able to find as much success here on map 3, but that's still utility gone, and Morocco does get the frag onto Ashen. That was a little bit of a chaotic fight, nearly resulted in 2 deaths from Achieve, but Traken is still up, and Ashen is dead. Ibana Morch goes out on E-Box wall, but that's not going to stop Ambi from playing here on Barrel, so I don't know, that was a little bit interesting. As there's 35 seconds left, we're on an even 4 versus 4, though Achieve really only have that top 4 control, but here they come with the Ying. They take Pillar, they kill Ambi, they kill Reed, Spiff is dead too, and out of nowhere, Surf's entire anchor game has crumbled. Twizzler's getting this plant down. Asia's now trapped by his own Goyo shield. He can't rotate. He'll C4 close, but there's no one there for that C4 to find, and now we're in post. It's looking like the first successful attack from Achieve, and indeed it will be. Riot gets the finisher, and they take round number 10 heavily off the back of that Ying push.
Well, they made that decision. Eventually, you just gotta send it on the site, and while they were able to deal with Ashen above, because just the target prioritization as he came down the stairs, and the Scorpion isn't the best weapon in the world in close quarters like that, he was unable to get those kills, and so after that presence above was alleviated, Achieve, they felt comfortable just sending it on the site. You've got the Candelas in hand, you just drop them down E-Box, even if there's a couple of smoke grenades in your way, a couple of smoke canisters from Reed, you can just push on through them. They did that, blinding Surf as they went, collecting almost every single kill at the same time. That is really, really well done, and perfect use of the Ying. It's why we see some teams bringing her out often. It's why we even see some teams banning the Ying on Oregon. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it's because teams are very aware that in the hands of a confident Ying player and of a confident team who knows how to use those Candelas properly, it can be as powerful as any execute you've ever seen.
Yeah, you saw, I mean, just how much space it gave them. And it looked like they had pretty ample info on the site. It seemed like Surf just couldn't fight back. They were kind of just rooted and stuck wherever they were previously positioned, and Achieve just walked in and fragged them. But now we're back on dorms. This was less close. Was certainly, again, you know, on kind of a big play from a single player of Surf to win the round, and that was Reed Sync, peeking out from Attic, killing not only TPA walking through the middle of the site, but also the cover and trophy. We got a little bit of a difference from Surf here. We've got more downstairs presence, so Ashen can play with the C4. He's got Ambi to support as well, leaving just 3 players on site. And we do see this a lot. If you know that Achieve are going to be going for, you know, the slow master clear, you can exude that C4 presence from below, or if they try, you know, planting in games, that C4 can be quite powerful as well.
Well, Asian is tempting even to hoist that C4 for a moment. He'll rip that one off, but put that one quickly back in pocket. Looks like he'll be fine, allowing Achieve to make their way up into Master and actually up into getting a line of sight into the objective at this point. Morocco has once again gotten those X-Kairos pellets down on the wall, and now they have detonated, and so you've got this avenue established. Now it's just about making the push at the proper moment. Still a lot of utility to clear out before that. A lot of utility and a lot of information to gain as well. 5 drones still remain for Achieve, and we see a couple of those now just blitzing their way through the bomb site, trying to locate these final few players, but one drone is going to fail to identify Asian at all. TPA almost walks into his grave just by not identifying the position of the Goyo beforehand. Now he'll be forced to take some more time and bring that drone up from downstairs to get more intel to work with, because clearly something was missing. But that intel game, if it's on point, it should be able to deal with Ashen. But if not, there's a dangerous flank coming from below.
Oh. It's like that flanking player Ashen was spotted out, so he will fall off. Reed, very early on, is going to be using those gas canisters. There's still a minute 10 left, and already that's one gone. Asian is going to respond to the nade with a C4, but neither will find their mark. In fact, the nade does clear a Goyo shield, though, so there's less coverage and attic utility-wise for Surf. Morocco looking to make his way through Trophy, staring down the Jaeger behind the bunker. Spiff currently just kind of tucked in, waiting for his opportunity to peek out. This Achieve are just kind of repositioning, reallocating their manpower to go for this site push. Tracken is going to go over towards the Kids Rappel, where there's actually someone prone right beneath the window. He's going to get some damage onto Tracken, but it's Asian with the leadoff kill onto Twizzler before there's a refrag. Ambi's hit the floor, but Asian finds a second. Spiff also now dead, as is Reed Sync, and Ambi's been recovered, and Ashen gets his kill all the way over towards Bunker, I believe. It's now TPA and Tracken low on HP, both below 50. And a 2 versus 3 and only 15 seconds left. And as TPA finds the back of Asian, Ambi's there for coverage, and Ashen finds the last. Surf take round number 11 and win map number 3, 7-4. They eliminate Achieve and move on to the semifinals.
Was not as clean as we expected. I don't think it was as clean as Surf expected. Achieve certainly put up a fight. The story became a lot less of, here is Surf making mistakes. It became more of, what is Achieve doing well? And unfortunately for them, they just could not finish things out after an exceptional performance on map 2, taking Surf's map pick out of their arms. Surf was indeed able to stop Achieve's momentum and bring things back on Oregon. A 7-4 win, semifinal pass now confirmed, and they'll be looking for their opponent next week. But a pretty good series overall. But I think one pretty consistent storyline here, Harrison, was Surf not playing up to the standards that we've expected. And while they've had a lot of our votes of confidence coming in to this game, I'll speak for myself here. I don't know what other people think, but I don't know if Surf has my vote for any more games if they continue to play like this. I think their playoff run could end here in the semifinals next, unless they can really change up their playstyle and at least make some improvements from what we saw tonight.
Yeah, that was definitely not the Surf that we were used to seeing. So we know they can be better than that. So I'm gonna assume that this match was maybe a little bit of a fluke. You know, maybe they just had a little bit of an off game, because they did look much better on Oregon, much more put together. And I do have to say, it was kind of a complete 180 from the first couple maps. And I mean, they still won Chalet looking like that. But, you know, like you said, semifinals is definitely going to have a tougher opponent than the one they saw today. Probably a Challenger League team, I imagine, unless they're on the same side of the bracket as Mystic, which I'm not, I don't quite remember, but it'll probably be a Challenger League, or I guess we could say Challenger League caliber team. But before we head on to a break and take a look at the final stats, we have another word from our sponsor, Jonah, the ever so loving Mike and Ike. If you would like to be like Surf and be at the top of T3 and I guess beat Achieve and move on to the semifinals, you can power up your game with Mike and Ike, either original or a mega mix. We love Mike and Ike here at NSG/SCS. I know I like them. I ate an entire bag of them on my drive to Toronto because Gavin bought them at a gas station. I know Carter likes them, even though he hates fruit and fruit-flavored things. He still likes Mike and Ike, so if that doesn't tell you they're good, I don't know what will. So thank you very much, Mike and Ike, as always, for sponsoring SCS. We love you. At least I love you.
Always so great to have them as a sponsor. I had a nice little Mike and Ike box that I had at school with me, but then I forgot to bring it home. I don't have my Mike and Ike.
What the heck?
Mike, I gotta go back out and get some more. I mean, as simple as that.
I can't believe it.
Been eating enough candy though for the holidays, so I gotta keep this box, sealed, not
Yeah,
eat
it's
it.
true.
Bad. I don't know, but God, they're good. Great performance though from Surf overall. We're just waiting on an interview for them. We're going to talk with one of their players because we saw, in all chat, they've said it now several times, should have been a 7-0, right? Should have been a 7-0 on Chalet, should have been a 7-0 on Oregon. Clearly, they are not happy with their performance here tonight. They got the win at the end of the day, so as long as they can put this one behind them and move along to next week, I think that'll be fine, but curious to hear exactly what they think went wrong.
Yeah, I think mainly it was, and I'm just going to go out on a limb. We're not with the teams. We don't see everything that goes inside, but just based on their play, it looked like just a lot of kind of general disorganization, maybe miscoms. Again, there were a lot of rounds that we could definitely blame on lack of info. It could have just, it really did. And this is not me trying, I'm just going to say, I like Surf. I like them as a team. So this isn't just me just kind of like searching for excuses for them. It really did just look like they had an off day. Like things just weren't clicking like they usually were. And I'm sure, whoever we get for the interview will probably echo that sentiment. I'm sure whoever we get for the interview is probably not going to be happy with their play either. Because there were so many rounds, not much less on Oregon, but definitely so many rounds on both Chalet and Cafe that just should not have been won by Achieve.
Yeah, that's true, especially on that first map, right? There were so many rounds where it was so, like, Surf had such an advantage and then just let that slip away. You can chalk it up to the 10, 11 days they've had between their last play day. Maybe they haven't been scrimming. It's the holiday season. Maybe they've just been, goofing off, playing games with the boys and not really refining their skill. I think that could be part of the reason we saw some gaps here today. We can take a look at the stats here just from this third map. You can see that Reed once again was at the top of this Surf side of things. Morocco putting up incredible numbers for the side of Achieve, but some pretty big differences on the side of Achieve. TPA, who dropped 18 on map 2, found himself at the bottom of the scoreboard there. The stats on map 3, no doubt part of the reason why map 2 was won and map 3 was not.
Yeah, TPA falling silent was definitely a little bit unfortunate for Achieve, but we do have one of the Surf players to talk to for the interview, and boy, do I have a treat for you guys. It's gonna be Ambi. Ambi, I finally get to interview you.
What's up, Crow?
After so long.
Yeah.
Ambi, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm just fantastic.
I'm sure you are. You guys win the quarterfinals. You're on the semis, so something that I've always wanted to ask both you and the Surf guys, knowing how you used to play on Aerial Academy, you were an entry player, you were always, kind of first one in the building, you were spawn peeking, hopping out of windows and stuff, and just knowing you as a person, you're a very excited person, you're very hyper. How was it transitioning to a much more passive flank watch role?
I just gotta make sure they don't get flanked, and then I told good job. And then I get to watch them shoot everybody. It's great. Oh, I love it.
You still have fun?
Yeah, I'm having a dandy old time.
All right, I'm sure you are. So, something that Jonah and I definitely noticed is that you guys, at least through the first 2 maps, you guys definitely cleaned up on Oregon. But through the first 2 maps, it seemed like you guys were just kind of having like a general rough go of it. Were things just not really like clicking? Were you guys just having a bad couple maps?
For Chalet, we were at 5-1, and we were like, all right, guys, let's not have what happened. The aerial game, it was 5-1 too.
Yeah.
And then the same thing happened, but then we didn't go overtime, so we won that. And then Cafe, I don't know, we just suck. It's all good though. we'll get it back next time.
Yeah, because there were a lot of rounds where it looked like maybe just like something was miscommunicated, or maybe like something wasn't being droned, and like things would just completely fall apart. Yeah. But going into this game against Achieve, did you expect it to be, quote unquote, easier because they're not an established T3 team, they're not really an established CL team either? They have people who were in CL before, but they're a relatively newer teams. Did you guys expect us to go 3 maps?
Well, I don't think we expect any team to take us to 3 maps, really, because we expect it 2-0 every time. But yeah, we still prepare like any other team, and They got them at. It is what it is.
Was it a little tougher to prepare for them because they had one less game than they should have?
I guess so. I mean, we still like looked at them a little bit, but it wasn't definitely like as much. We still basically had a concept of what they were gonna do, basically every map.
Now, I mean, heading into semifinals, and perhaps if you head to Grand, I mean, who would you want to see in Grand Finals? Who would you want to play for first place against?
Mystic or Two-Faced?
Mystic or I know why Mystic. Why Two-Faced?
They're my friends. And
I see.
Yeah. Same with Mystic guys. We all know them all.
Okay, all right, that'd be cool. But I mean, again, Ambi, congratulations on winning your first quarterfinal game. I mean, I know it's been a long time coming. I love casting your team.
That's what we do. That's what we do.
And we gotta get the Halo stacks together again.
Yeah,
sometime.
you gotta call EXO.
I do. I gotta call EXO. I gotta call everyone back.
He's been lacking.
He has. I gotta figure out how to play card game on the new Halo. But Ambi, is there anyone that I know you're excited about? I know you're excited about Speed Halo. But is there anyone you any final words you want to say to your fans, to any supporters of Sir?
Thank you. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Good job, Karma. He's cool. And then my teammates are pretty cool. So yeah. That's about it.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Ambi. Again, congratulations, and we will see you tomorrow in the semifinals.
Wait, what will the day be tomorrow? Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll see. Are you gonna be casting?
No. But I will be casting Grand Finals, so if you make it to Grand Finals, I'll be casting you.
That's great to hear, Crow. That's great to hear.
So, if you want me to cast you gotta win tomorrow.
Not tomorrow. Come on, Crow.
Oh yeah,
on,
2 days.
It's all good.
I forgot.
It's all good.
Listen, I forgot.
It's not gonna
That's
happen
on
again.
me.
It's all good though.
I'll try not to. But Ambi, again, thank you very much for joining me. Love talking to you, and we will see you. We'll see you on Wednesday. Have a very good night.
You too, sir.
Bye bye.
What a guy. Well, we've got
That's Ambi.
We've got our game stats here, the entire series put together here. We saw a lot of inconsistencies between both teams. Some people at the top, some people at the bottom. The next game, I mean, TPA, as you can see, after even a monumental performance in that second map, he still finds himself in that middle ground. Honestly, going negative overall. It kind of shows you how dominant Surf were on those first two maps. And on the side of Surf, Spiff, after a phenomenal map one performance, just couldn't quite continue that success over the next two maps. Instead, it was Ashen, it was Reed, it was Asian who all stepped up and put up some pretty solid numbers. I mean, you look at the plants, the objective play from both of these teams, it's relatively even, and very little objective play at all over 3 maps. Yeah. Only 5 total plants between either team is a pretty low number.
Yeah, and I mean, you see Ashen 11-5 in the series on entries. I mean, that is just spectacular. And if you want to take a look at the stats, right? I don't want to ever hear, "Oh, I'm on hard support. That's why I don't have frags. That's why I'm triple negative," ever again. You saw Reed, you saw Morocco. Reed, second highest on his team. Morocco, highest rated player on his team, playing hard breach smoke. I mean, these guys, if you want to learn how to be a hard support, but still be able to find that scoreboard, still be able to help your team in terms of frags and such like that, take a look no further than people like Reed Sync, people like Morocco, because I mean, there were so many times, especially on Oregon and on Cafe, where, you know, you and I would be shouting Reed's name, shouting Morocco's name, because those guys can certainly still put up a hell of a fight. But that's going to do it for quarterfinal number 1. That's going to do it for the first game. We still have the second one after this. That's where Team Mystic are going to play up against One Shot. So one of the best T3 teams up against one of the best CL teams. Unfortunately, I won't be there. I was supposed to cast it, but I don't know if you guys can tell, but I'm currently dying right now. My throat does not feel good. So shout out to Carter, Casting Links, Hannafeld for coming in clutch and stepping in. Jonah, you'll still be there. You get to cast with Carter, which is always a fun time. So everyone, stick around. We'll have game number 2 with Carter and Jonah just after.